Chapter 1549. Indeed, the girl didn't hear much, but it was enough. Zhuo Lingyue's lips curled into a smile, while Lin Yonghe's face turned completely pale. These few key words were enough to sentence him to death. This girl was too infuriating. Why did she only hear such key words? Damn it. This girl definitely couldn't understand no matter how hard she tried. The few words she heard were enough to prove everything. You should take this money. Thank you. Zhuo Lingyue faintly said to Jiaoyang. Send her back to where you picked her up. Send her safely to her destination, and then come back. Yes. Jiaoyang nodded and signaled for the girl to leave with him. The girl still hadn't calmed down from her shock. She didn't expect it to end so quickly. 20,000 yuan was hers? Zhuo Lingyue didn't want to say anything more. She was very clear about Lin Yonghe's character and the seriousness of the current situation. Her expression was unsightly, but it wasn't because she was angry at Lin Yonghe. A large part of it was because she was worried. Zhuo Lingyue was worried that Su Yin would do something stupid after hearing the news about Marty Franz Island's major criminal prison. Once he did something stupid, there was no way to make up for it. Zhuo Lingyue was very clear that Su Yun's feelings for his father were incomprehensible. In the eyes of ordinary people, his father was always dignified with a mixture of love and respect. However, in Su Yun's eyes, his father wasn't filled with love and respect, but with hatred and pain. A large part of the reason for this hatred and pain was that he couldn't understand. Since his father didn't even raise him, why did he let him live in this world? Since he planted this seed, why did he abandon it? This was an extremely irresponsible act, so Su Yin was filled with hatred towards his father. This kind of hatred could only be understood by those who had been abandoned. And the pain was because of his mother. Su Yin knew very well that his mother had left this world in an extremely short period of time after giving birth to him. As for why, no one had told him, nor did he want to know. When he thought of this question, he felt especially pained because he had always wondered if everything would have been different if his father had been by their side at that time. Perhaps his mother wouldn't have left this world. Perhaps he wouldn't have had to endure this pain and hatred for so many years. Therefore, Su Yun's feelings for his father were definitely different from that of ordinary people. But after more than 20 years, this hatred and pain slowly turned into a kind of understanding. Because Su Yin had turned from a boy into a man, he began to learn how to face and bear responsibilities. He also began to face all kinds of choices. Many times, Su Yin realized that there were some things that he didn't want to give up. It wasn't that he didn't want to bear the responsibility, but there were some things that needed to be sacrificed. In order to obtain a greater meaning, in order to protect a greater benefit, it was inevitable to sacrifice one's own interests. Between righteousness and self-interest, people often had to make a quick choice, and this choice usually didn't give people too much time to consider. After experiencing this many times, Su Yin gradually understood that many of these choices didn't need to be made at all, because righteousness was always more meaningful than self-interest. Therefore, he began to give up self-interest logically. Even this kind of self-interest included his own life. As long as he could achieve righteousness and serve the country, there was nothing that Su Yin couldn't sacrifice. At this time, Su Yin realized that sometimes, responsibility couldn't be seen in a simple way. If a person didn't even care about his own life, people who didn't know him would definitely think that this person didn't even have the most basic sense of responsibility. However, if it was for the benefit of a country, for the benefit of more than 1 billion people, he wouldn't care about his own life. In that case, it wasn't as simple as having no sense of responsibility. This sense of responsibility was too great. When Su Yin was faced with such a choice, he began to understand his father. Because he didn't know whether his father had given up on him for some righteousness like him. If that was the case, he definitely wouldn't feel wronged. Su Yin understood what righteousness meant. When Zhuo Lingyue saw Su Yin for the first time, she could see that Su Yin's respect, love, confusion and helplessness for his father were all intertwined in his immature mind. Since he could bear all this, it indicated that he had a greater bearing capacity than anyone else. On this point, even Zhuo Lingyue admired Su Yin a lot. He was able to endure so many things that others didn't dare to believe it. Therefore, after some things, Zhuo Lingyue carefully perceived Su Yin's yearning for his father. She clearly felt that Su Yin doubted whether his father was dead or alive. However, he couldn't be sure. Therefore, Zhuo Lingyue started to worry that this kid would know about the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island one day. If there was such a day, would he go to that place? When Zhuo Lingyue thought of this question, she would feel a chill all over her body, because she was sure that Su Yin would definitely go there. Even if that place was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, it was impossible for him to remain indifferent after knowing that his father was there. Even if Su Yin knew that he would not be able to return, he would still give it a try. It was not that he was irresponsible, but that he was like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. Just like when she was young, she also tried to break into that hellish place of no return. When she started to act crazily, she realized that she was still far from being able to behave atrociously in such a place. Fortunately, she was brought out by a mysterious man by chance. This mysterious man was one of the guards of the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island. If it weren't for that man, Zhuo Lingyue might have been thrown into the deep-sea prison now. From then on, Zhuo Lingyue clearly knew that the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island was an absolutely untouchable taboo. Saving someone in the deep-sea prison on the 5th floor? It wasn't just a fantasy, it was simply a dream. It was something that could never be done. Zhuo Lingyue knew all this because she personally went to the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island. However, Su Yin didn't go there, so he didn't know the horror of that place. Therefore, Zhuo Lingyue dared to say that Su Yin would do something like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. However, the goddess of luck wouldn't favor a person over and over again. If Su Yin really went there, he would be trapped in there and would never be able to get out. It was basically a matter that was set in stone. With Su Yin's strength, the 3rd floor of the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island was enough to lock him up. Why did he need to go to the 5th floor? Therefore, if he broke into the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island, he might not be able to see his father even if he got in. The more Zhuo Lingyue thought about it, the more she couldn't control her emotions. Damn Lin Yonghe. His scheme was too insidious and cunning. Zhuo Lingyue really couldn't believe that such a person existed in this world. He could actually make such a flawless trap. Lin Yonghe used Su Yin to deal with her. This was definitely a scheme that he would never fail. Lin Yonghe, you're really vicious. Zhuo Lingyue sneered as she looked at Lin Yonghe. All along, I've always thought that you were an unremarkable thing, just like your nickname, a smelly rat. But today I discovered that the smaller and dirtier a thing is, the easier it is for them to do despicable things. Lin Yonghe had already felt the strong murderous intent. Under the pressure of this momentum, he began to be out of breath. This fear rose from the bottom of his heart. He couldn't control this fear. He really couldn't control it. You're a kind of smelly rat that can bring the plague. You're disgusting and annoying. Zhuo Lingyue said, I really don't understand why Su Chen gave you a chance to live back then. He should have killed you completely, so that people like you can never hurt people again. Lin Yonghe was able to live back then because Su Chen showed mercy. Although Lin Yonghe had done a lot of despicable things, he had never killed anyone. Therefore, Su Chen only forced him to leave Huaxia. He didn't think that he deserved to die. Thinking about it now, Lin Yonghe probably shouldn't have stayed. What a great challenge it was for Su Yin to keep Lin Yonghe here. Su Chen probably never thought of this at that time. Now that Su Yin had confirmed the matter of the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island, an idea that had always existed in his heart began to secretly grow. He was now ready to take action that he had never taken before. All this seemed to be peaceful, but there was a huge crisis hidden. Once Su Yin was really trapped in that place, with his current ability, it was really impossible for him to come out alive. It was also impossible for him to have a chance to see Su Chen. Chapter 1550. Zhuo Lingyue had already given the order to attack. Ling Feng and Onan were already prepared to attack. As long as the Empress gave them the signal, they would attack Lin Yonghe without hesitation. Lin Yonghe's face was ashen. He couldn't understand why Zhuo Lingyue would stand on Su Yin's side. Empress, Su Yin is the child of him and that woman. Why are you helping him? You still know that Su Yin is his son? Zhuo Lingyue said coldly. You should know the reason why you don't dare to attack Su Yin personally. I don't need to care about Yin Luyan. I only need to know that Su Yin is his son. I, Zhuolingyue, am willing to give up everything for him. Why are you doing this? Lin Yonghe couldn't understand. Even though Su Yin is his son, he is also the son of him and Yin Luyan. You are simply helping Yin Luyan take care of her son. Not only did she occupy Su Chen's heart, but she also wants you to help her take care of her son? Why? Why are you doing this? Onan didn't want Lin Yonghe to speak anymore. Lin Yonghe, you better shut up. The Empress doesn't need to explain anything to you. You don't have the right to question her. Look at your current situation clearly. You are about to die, so it's better for you not to know anything. Zhuolingyue, however, raised her hand. No, I want him to die clearly. Lin Yonghe, people like you will never understand what love is. Love isn't selfish possession or domineering possession. It's a kind of tolerance, understanding, and willingness to do anything for others. I, Zhuolingyue, am such a person. I dare to admit to anyone that I only love Su Chen in my life. Even if I'm not his only and can't even be considered a substitute, I am willing to do so. If Su Chen could hear Zhuolingyue's words, he would have no regrets in this life. He had his beloved Yin Luyan and Zhuolingyue, who was willing to give up everything for him. What else was there for him to be dissatisfied with in this life? For a man to have two beauties willing to give up everything for him, his life was worth it. After so many years, I've already let go of my hatred and jealousy towards Yin Luyan. I'm just envious of her. I'm envious that she met Su Chen before me. Zhuolingyue said. Like me, she loves Su Chen wholeheartedly. I can understand that feeling better than anyone else. Su Chen went to that place for her. I was indeed jealous and angry at that time, but now I understand. It's because Su Chen is such a loyal man that I love him so unscrupulously. Only a man like him is worthy of my sacrifice, worthy of my love for him. Only when he's like this would I be willing to give up everything for him. Zhuolingyue was visibly agitated at the end of her speech. She had suppressed these words for far too long. That was why she was so agitated. So now you're taking care of his child with another woman for his sake? Lin Yonghe saw that Zhuolingyue's emotions had already been angered by her. She might as well take a gamble and rub salt on Zhuolingyue's wound even more unscrupulously. Who knows, she might even be able to make Zhuolingyue angry. Zhuolingyue sneered at Lin Yonghe and said, Are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to anger me over and over again? Lin Yonghe, do you really think that you're like a cat that has 9 lives? You've been dragging out an ignoble existence for so many years. You've earned enough. Ling Feng'onan, take him away. You know how to deal with him. Empress, are you really going to kill him? Are you going to dirty your hands for such a person? Dong Hai, who had been silent all this while, finally couldn't hold it in anymore. As one of the 5 war gods, he was the one who spoke the least and was also the quietest among them. He's already in this state, yet you're still speaking up for him. What do you mean? Onan frowned. He and Dong Hai had always been on bad terms. If it wasn't for the Empress's summons, both of them wouldn't have pissed in the same pot. Now that Xiaolang and Dong Hai actually wanted to speak up for Lin Yonghe, Onan naturally wouldn't agree. Dong Hai ignored Onan and continued to express his thoughts to Zhuolingyue. There must be a reason why Su Chen didn't kill him back then. We don't know the reason, but you definitely know. I don't have any other intentions. I just hope that you can think it through. There are some things that you really need to consider carefully. Dong Hai was indeed thinking for Zhuolingyue. Previously, Zhuolingyue didn't know that Su Chen had given Lin Yonghe a way out. But now that she knew that Lin Yonghe was still alive, she quickly understood why Su Chen didn't kill him. It was probably because of that innocent and young life. Lin Yonghe had a son. Back then, Su Chen was arresting Lin Yonghe because of that harmful fake medicine case. After Su Chen obtained all the clues about Lin Yonghe, he naturally knew about his newborn son. At that time, Su Yin was also born. He knew how it felt to be a father. However, during the arrest of Lin Yonghe's lover, the mother of this child had an accident. In order to cover Lin Yonghe's escape, she fell off a building. At that time, she left behind such a pitiful child. This child was brought back by Su Chen. Therefore, when he had the chance to kill Lin Yonghe at the southern border, he didn't do it. In the end, he softened his heart and gave Lin Yonghe a way out because of that child. In the bottom of his heart, Suchin hoped that Lin Yonghe could realize all his mistakes and turn over a new leaf. When father and son met in the future, it could be considered as his apology for that innocent mother of his. This was the reason why Suchin didn't kill Lin Yonghe. Zhuo Lingyue knew about that innocent child, so she could understand Suchin's thoughts at that time. Now that Dong Hai reminded Zhuo Lingyue thought of this matter. However, Lin Yonghe didn't reflect on it for so many years. He was completely immersed in revenge. But from his point of view, losing his wife and child would really drive a person completely crazy. He was also the reason why Lin Yonghe was so crazy about revenge. Zhuo Lingyue thought that if it was her and someone took Xiao Yi away from her, she might also become crazy, right? Lin Yonghe, you shouldn't have done this. Zhuo Lingyue became calm. Back then, Suchin intentionally let you live. I think the reason is because of your child. Child? Lin Yonghe smiled bitterly. I don't remember having any child. It was Suchin who caused me to lose my child. Therefore, I want to find his son and return everything to him. Empress, I don't need your pity. I have also thought it through. Even if I die now and can't see the father and son reunite in that godforsaken place, it is enough for me to know in my heart. I have achieved my goal, so it's fine if I die. Zhuo Lingyue shook her head. What's the point of doing this? Why don't you put all your effort into finding your own child? I can tell you very clearly that your son was brought back by Suchin. He said that he wanted someone to properly adopt him and nurture him, so that he wouldn't become someone like you. Lin Yonghe suddenly felt as if he was struck by lightning. His son didn't die? He always thought that Suchin couldn't catch him and would vent his anger on his son. After all, his wife was already dead at that time. His son was only 2 or 3 months old. He didn't need to do anything and could be strangled to death with 2 fingers. You said my son didn't die? Lin Yonghe couldn't believe his ears. Where is he now? Where is he now? Tell me. I beg you to tell me. Zhuo Lingyue nodded with certainty. I'm sure he didn't die. But I really don't know where he is. Lin Yonghe, if you put all your effort into finding him in the past 20 years, I'm afraid you would have found him long ago. You are wrong. Chapter 1551. Lin Yonghe was very clear that if what Zhuo Lingyue said was true, then he had really made a mistake that could never be made up for. That's right, 20 years, 20 years. He had been thinking about how to take revenge for the past 20 years. There was nothing but revenge left in his world. Sometimes, Lin Yonghe even wanted to ask himself whether what he had done for so many years was worth it. The 2 answers in his heart were fighting so clearly. On the one hand, it told him that as long as Suchin could lose his son like he did and watch his son suffer for the rest of his life, it was worth it. On the other hand, the other answer was also asking him whether he was really satisfied with this. He had not fulfilled his responsibility as a father for more than 20 years. He just wanted to take revenge, take revenge, take revenge. Did he lose him or Suchin by doing this? Suchin had been deeply imprisoned in the Mardi Franz Island for controlling everything. He might never be able to get out of that damn place in his life. Why didn't he spend his mind on finding his son in the past 20 years? Why was he still fighting for a person who could no longer come to this world? For the sake of a single breath of air in his heart, he had lost more than 20 years of time. What had he done in the past 20 years? Lin Yonghe suddenly began to hate himself. He suddenly began to feel that his whole life was wrong. What could he get from taking revenge? But what about the price he had lost? The price he had lost might be that he would never be able to find his son again. What was the point of taking revenge like this? It was really meaningless. Lin Yonghe really wanted to ask herself what she had done. What was she doing now? Why did he do this? Why was the price of revenge so high? He didn't even know what his son looked like. He didn't even have time to give his son a name because of the big fake medicine case he had caused that year. But he shouldn't have been responsible for everything that year alone. If it weren't for the support of the governor of Chuan province, he wouldn't have had the chance to take on such a big case. But why was it that once something happened, everything fell on his shoulders? The benefits that he received were far less than what the other leaders received. Nominally, he was the one who had caused the big fake medicine case. In fact, after all the links, he had not even obtained 10% of the benefits. Most of the remaining benefits were handed over to the leaders. As long as there was supervision over his industry, every leader would get more money than him. But in the end, when he was investigated, everyone put the blame on him. If it weren't for the instigation of these leaders, he, Lin Yongha, would not have taken this step and ended up with the name of a smelly rat. If it weren't for those people's instigation and coercion, he wouldn't have done such a heinous thing. He was a bastard, but he knew very well how many bastards were behind him. Others might not know, but he knew very well. Those bastards were actually more bastards than him because he had always been a bastard. As for those people, they did those bastards in the name of serving the people. That was the real bastard. In the past 20 years, the national examination in Huaxia. Every year, there would be old foxes who became more and more courageous as they fought. And every year, there would be fresh graduates who were born calves. There were always some people for those people to take the exam. Every year, everyone to them. Why? How many of these people were there to serve the people? Even if someone said so, who would believe it? Since ancient times, Huaxia had an idiom, which was to get promoted and get rich. What was to get promoted and get rich? When one's official position was promoted, one could get more material wealth at the same time. Even elementary school students now understood such a simple principle. Why? Was the purpose of becoming a civil servant to get promoted and get rich? No, this was a job that required one to perform public duties according to the law and think about the interests of the people. But how many of the civil servants in Huaxia did it with this idea in mind? How many people knew that the basic salary of the highest-ranking officials increased from 7,000 to more than 10,000 in just a year? More than 10,000? As long as the private sales staff in the second-tier cities worked hard, they could also get this amount, right? A farmer who planted cherries or grapes would earn more than this, right? Even a third-rate writer who wrote a few words on the internet could get this amount of salary. But how many high-ranking officials were there? Most of them were low-level clerks. The salary was really pitiful. But why were there still so many people fighting for such a pitiful salary? It was because these people didn't know what it meant to serve the people at all. In their minds, they only thought about getting promoted and getting rich. Lin Yongha thought that if the people who were in charge of supervising him when he was in the medicinal herb business were really good civil servants who served the people, then he wouldn't have come to this step now. Huaxia's anti-corruption campaign was really a long road. In this society, how many such things existed? The officials were corrupted because of the businessmen, and the businessmen were corrupted because of the officials. To solve this fundamental problem, it was far from enough to just crack down. To fundamentally change the thinking of the people of Huaxia. This generation of public examiners had been imprisoned by their parents' idea of getting promoted and getting rich, since they were young. It was true that being an official could change one's fate, but being an official definitely didn't just change one's own fate. You had to change the fate of more people. You had to serve the people. The idea of bowing one's head and willingly being an ox was really too rare in today's society. All the crimes back then were pushed onto me. Lin Yongha said indifferently. But those who really had the power to control everything behind the scenes, no one dared to touch them. Why didn't Suchin dare to touch those people, but only me? After you left, all the officials related to your case, from the high-ranking officials to the clerks, were all removed from their positions and expelled from the party. Those who committed serious crimes were sentenced to life imprisonment at the highest. Isn't that enough? Zhuo Lingyue said. I can tell you very responsibly that the person who broke the chain of interests and power was Su Chun. Didn't Su Chun offend a lot of people because of these things? Do you think I want him to do these damn things for a government job? Speaking of this, Zhuo Lingyue was angry. At that time, she really hoped that Su Chun could stand at the peak of the underground world with her, without those worldly troubles and no one to disturb them, so that they could live like an immortal couple. However, this was all a fantasy. Su Chun had sacrificed his entire life for the sake of righteousness. Even in the end, he still sacrificed his own interests for the sake of righteousness. None of you know why he was willing to go to Martifrance Island's major criminal prison. Only I know. Zwilungyue still couldn't help but feel intense heartache when she thought of this. Didn't he do it for Yin Luyan? Lin Yonghe asked. Zwilungyue shook her head. On the surface, it was indeed so, but she knew the real reason. Yun Liuyan's death was due to Su Chen's meddling in other people's business. She and Su Chen got together because Su Chen wanted to mislead that person into thinking that he was addicted to women. In the end, Su Chen forced that person into a desperate situation, and that person chose to go to Martifrance Island's major criminal prison. However, Su Chen realized a very serious problem at that time. If those people imprisoned in the 5th layer of Martifrance Island's major criminal prison had the help of that person, perhaps the most terrifying prison break in history would happen. For this reason, Su Chen took the risk to enter that damned place and killed that person with his own hands. Because he was sure that he wouldn't wallow in the mire with those heinous criminals in the 5th layer of the deep sea. He wouldn't help them escape. Just like that, Su Chen was trapped there forever, and everyone thought that he was avenging Yun Luyan. In fact, he knew very well what he was doing for. For the sake of the world's righteousness, he gave up his own life. Chapter 1552. It took Zwilungyue more than 10 years to understand the meaning of Su Chen's life. Only by understanding the meaning of Su Chen's life could she understand everything that he had done. Many times, Zwilungyue wondered why she fell in love with such a person. If she didn't fall in love with such a man, perhaps her life wouldn't be like this. Empress, who exactly are we? Ling Feng could see Zwilungyue's hesitation. He had also considered Dong Hai's words just now. Dong Hai definitely wasn't speaking up for Lin Yonghe. He just didn't want Zwilungyue to regret her decision. Therefore, Onan didn't raise any more questions and quietly waited for the Empress's decision. Ling Feng knew that Zwilungyue needed to give an answer as soon as possible. The more one thought about these things, the easier it would be for one to be at a loss. The best way was to settle everything once and for all. Currently, Zwilungyue indeed needed a quiet space to calm down. In the end, Zwilungyue couldn't harden her heart. It wasn't because she was soft-hearted, nor was it because she started to believe in Buddhism and didn't like killing. It was because she thought that since Su Chen had already been found by this man, if she ended everything here today, wouldn't Su Chen's heart be stifled as well? If Lin Yonghe had already found his son, perhaps Zwilungyue would have already taken action. But now he didn't. If she killed him today, he would forever carry this regret into his coffin. Would this regret also be Su Chen's regret? Zwilungyue couldn't judge these things. She didn't know what she should do in the end. If Su Chen was really giving Lin Yonghe a chance, how could she bear to personally strangle this opportunity? Let him go. Zwilungyue ultimately chose to respect Su Yun's decision. Things had already happened. Lin Yonghe had already told Su Yun about the matter of Martifrance Island's serious criminals prison. What she had to do first was to execute Lin Yonghe. It was a foregone conclusion that Su Yun knew the truth. Now Zwilungyue was very clear that the most important thing she should do was to think of a way to stop Su Yun from doing something foolish. She shouldn't continue to bicker with Lin Yonghe. In a way, Lin Yonghe was also a pitiful person. He was forced to become a profiteer by those who put on the mantle of serving the people, but only wanted to get promoted and get rich. If it weren't for those people, perhaps Lin Yonghe wouldn't have walked on those evil paths, and she wouldn't have been forced to the point where her family was ruined. It was inevitable for people who lost their wives and children to become psychopathic. Perhaps this was the reason why Su Chen let him go back then. Empress, you must think this through clearly, Ling Feng said. How about this? Leave Lin Yonghe to me for now. If you haven't changed your mind in 2 days, I'll send him away at once. This is the last chance I'm giving him. If he lets me see him in any part of Huaxia again, I won't be merciful. Zwilungyue nodded. She wasn't in the mood to consider this. She had given Ling Feng the right to make his own decision. However, since she had already decided to release him, she would not change her mind. After all, in a certain corner of the world, there might be a young man waiting for his father, who had experienced the vicissitudes of life, to find him. Lin Yonghe only had a child when she was 35 years old. She could be considered to have a child in her middle age. She should care about her child very much. Back then, she was forced to leave. Now, she must have let her regret completely crush her mind. Why don't you just kill me and let me end this once and for all? Killing me might be a better release for me. Lin Yongha took a deep breath. He really hoped that everything was just a dream. He hoped that everything could go back in time. However, it was impossible for him to go back in time. Time had already passed. What should have happened had already happened. It was impossible for him to go back in time more than 20 years ago. Thinking that his son had already grown up and he didn't know where he was, all the hatred in Lin Yongha's heart suddenly disappeared. He finally realized how ridiculous his arrangements for the past 20 years were. Not only did he ruin his own life, but he also ruined his biological son's life and Fanbing's life. Of course, in a certain way, he also made Fanbing's life a success. However, all these things didn't happen naturally. They were all caused by his desire for revenge. These were all deformed products. Do you want to die? Lin Yongha, I didn't expect you to be so irresponsible in the end. Zhuoleng Yue said. If I were you, I would at least know the current situation of my child before dying. Otherwise, I won't be able to die in peace. Lin Yongha's heart felt as if it was pierced by a sharp dagger again. That kind of twisting pain was hysterical. He couldn't believe how his son had been all these years. What was he like now? Empress, I know you know a lot of things. If you know where my son is and if he's doing well, I'm willing to be your slave for the rest of my life. I don't need people like you around me. Zhuoleng Yue said disdainfully. I do know a lot of things, but this is the only thing I don't know. There must be someone who knows about this. If you really want to, you can definitely find them. I don't want to see you now. Get out of here immediately. Get out. Ling Feng knew that there was no need for him to imprison Lin Yongha for 2 days, because Zhuoleng Yue really didn't want to kill him now. The Empress has given you a chance. You'd better find the person you should find and make up for the debt you owe as a father. Lin Yongha finally knelt down heavily in front of Zhuoleng Yue in silence. When his knees hit the ground and made a loud sound, he knew that everything was over. He knelt down not only to thank Zhuoleng Yue for giving him this chance, but also to thank Su Chen for giving him this chance more than 20 years ago. To repay evil with good, how should one repay good? It was only at this moment that Lin Yongha realized that Su Chen wasn't his enemy, but his benefactor. Life was always full of twists and turns. Under this sudden reversal, Lin Yongha felt helpless and hesitant. Zhuoleng Yue knew that she needed to meet Su Yin as soon as possible. However, if she met Su Yin so abruptly, not only would she not get the result she wanted, but it would also make Su Yin even more unable to erase that thought in his heart. She needed someone to help her, and there was indeed one person who could help her. Yes, it was Bai Xiaoye. Zhuoleng Yue knew that she owed Bai Xiaoye an explanation for more than 20 years. Bai Xiaoye must have a question about her father. However, she couldn't ask this question because she had kept it in her heart for so long. Perhaps it would hurt anyone to mention it, but Zhuoleng Yue had to do it, because Xiaoye was the only one who could stop Su Yin. Zhuoleng Yue would never allow Su Yin to do something crazy. Zhuoleng Yue had to stop it. She wouldn't allow that man's son to have any more accidents. Wasn't this the last thing she could do for him? Lin Yongha left in a daze. Zhuoleng Yue also dismissed everyone, and came to the film and television hotel alone. The relationship between her and her daughter had indeed recovered a lot, but it still hadn't reached the level of intimacy where they could talk about everything. After all, the crack was too deep. Therefore, they needed time, a very long time to heal the wound completely. Bai Xiaoye knew that Zhuoleng Yue was coming, so of course, she would welcome her in person. She arranged a room for them, and they went to the internal bar of the hotel at Zhuoleng Yue's request. Zhuoleng Yue had never thought that she would sit down and drink with her daughter. Really, they were like friends, like bosom friends. What do you want to drink? My treat. Bai Xiaoye smiled and tried to make herself look relaxed, but to be honest, she really felt a little uncomfortable. Zhuoleng Yue also looked at her daughter with a smile. I'm fine with anything. As long as you can sit here and chat with me, that's enough. Chapter 1553. Bai Xiaoye cherished this opportunity to drink with Zhuoleng Yue. In her memory, She had never sat face to face with Zhuo Lengyue like this. Until now, Zhuo Lengyue was still playing the role of her strict teacher in her heart. How could she have the opportunity to drink with such a strict teacher? Of course, although Bai Xiaoya had never drunk with Zhuo Lengyue, she was very clear about Zhuo Lengyue's taste. Zhuo Lengyue didn't like to drink strong alcohol. She wasn't particularly interested in Huaxia's white wine or European whiskey. She liked to drink red wine, and her taste for red wine was quite high. With high taste, the requirements were naturally high. Therefore, the red wine that Bai Xiaoya brought was naturally not ordinary. This was a rare treasure that Yi Fala had specially flown to Qingdao from the wine warehouse of Xinjiang Xingkai Hotel. This was all for Su Yun's consideration. Because there would be many people with good taste staying in the movie and television hotel, some of these people were particularly demanding. Therefore, Yi Fala knew that since Su Yun's hotel had a built-in bar, he needed this kind of luxurious drink. This way, not only could she satisfy the needs of the guests, but she could also gain a lot of benefits. Why not? After seeing this, Zhuo Lengyue shook her head and stopped the waiter who was about to open the wine. She said to Bai Xiaoya, "Let's drink strong alcohol today? Can you?" Of course. Bai Xiaoya nodded. However, she didn't expect Zhuo Lengyue to make such a request. She didn't care, but she was worried about whether Zhuo Lengyue could accept it or not. "Then let's drink." "Forget it, you order. I feel that all strong alcohol tastes the same." "Then give us 2 bottles of whiskey." Zhuo Lengyue ordered a very common kind of whiskey, but this kind of whiskey was also very popular in the United States. It was estimated that it was almost the same as the 6 years of Confucius's family. It was delicious and not expensive. Ordinary people could afford it. "Are you sure?" Bai Xiaoya looked at Zhuo Lengyue in disbelief. This kind of alcohol was considered low-grade in her eyes, let alone in Zhuo Lengyue's eyes. Bai Xiaoya couldn't believe her ears that she would drink this kind of alcohol. "The taste of this alcohol is ordinary, right? If you want to drink whiskey, although there isn't anything particularly precious here, there is a 50-year-old Dalmore." Zhuo Lengyue smiled and shook her head. She understood Bai Xiaoya's meaning. Because Zhuo Lengyue herself wasn't someone who was fond of wine, she would occasionally drink some extraordinary wine. The 50-year-old Dalmore that Bai Xiaoya mentioned might not be as expensive as those rare red wines, but it was still worth tens of thousands of dollars in the market. 2 bottles of bourbon, please," Zhuo Lengyue said to the waiter with great certainty. The waiter could tell that this was a VIP, so he locked his eyes on Bai Xiaoya and tried to get the boss's permission before he dared to take the wine. Bai Xiaoya knew that Zhuo Lengyue was serious, so she nodded and signaled the waiter to do as she said. Soon 2 bottles of bourbon were placed in front of them. Bai Xiaoya opened the bottle and poured a glass for Zhuo Lengyue with a smile. "Why are you drinking with me today? I'm really not used to it." "Yeah, I'm not used to it either. We don't seem to have sat together and chatted like this before." Zhuo Lengyue was in a melancholic mood today. "Xiaoya, do you hate Mom a lot?" "I do," Bai Xiaoya admitted generously. Even though her smile was still a little forced, she did forgive Zhuo Lengyue's behavior. "But I also understand you. Some lies can't be stopped once they start. I tried to think about it from your point of view, so I understand you." Bai Xiaoya raised her glass and clinked it with Zhuo Lengyue's before taking a deep sip. Zhuo Lengyue drank everything in her glass. "It's been hard on you." "It's not just me. We're all the same," Bai Xiaoya said. Bai Xiaoya said, "The feelings you're enduring might be even greater than mine. The pressure in your heart might be beyond my imagination. Mom, you really don't have to blame yourself." Hearing this, Zhuo Lengyue felt that everything she did in her life was worth it. "Then do you hate your father?" Zhuo Lengyue's question was very abrupt, and Bai Xiaoya was stunned. She didn't know how to answer. Hate? Not really. Because she didn't have any impression of this person. Not hate. How could that be possible? After all, he was the closest person to her. But she had never even seen him. How could she not hate such an irresponsible father? But no matter what, these weren't problems that Bai Xiaoya had considered. There was no place in her heart for her father whom she had never met. "I don't know how to say it." Bai Xiaoya shook her head. "If we're talking about hate, I think Su Yun should hate him more, right? After all, He was abandoned after he was born. As for me, maybe he doesn't even know that he has a daughter like me. I don't care. I really don't care. Soo-yin will hate. Zhuo-Lingyue was startled. But if he can understand your father like you understand me, maybe he won't hate him. What do you think? Bai Xiaoye was a little surprised. Why would Zhuo-Lingyue suddenly talk to her about these profound questions? Wasn't it better to never think about these questions? Why did she have to bring them out? It might be better for everyone to bury them in the bottom of their hearts forever. I don't know, but my brother isn't an unreasonable person. If that person's actions can be understood, then I believe my brother will understand him. Bai Xiaoye said, but I'll forget about it because I don't have a definition of the word father in my heart. Zhuo-Lingyue smiled bitterly. That's because you don't know how great your father is, so you don't have a definition of him in your heart. But Su-Yin is different from you. Su-Yin can understand. This is what I'm worried about. Xiaoye, I need you to help me. To be exact, I need you to help your brother. Bai Xiaoye was startled. Help my brother? What happened to him? I don't know where to start, but to put it simply, he has confirmed your father's whereabouts, and that place is an absolute forbidden area. Once you enter, you will never be able to leave. Zhuo-Lingyue said. I need someone to convince him to give up the idea of going to that place, but I don't have the confidence to convince him. You're the only person I can think of who can accomplish this. Bai Xiaoye doubted her ears. The man in her heart who was her father had died long ago. Why did he suddenly appear in their world? What do you mean? Bai Xiaoye even felt her heart beating faster. Although she said that her father didn't have a place in her heart, she still felt nervous when it came to this matter. This was something she couldn't hide. While drinking, Zhuo-Lingyue used the shortest way to tell Bai Xiaoye everything she knew. She also told Bai Xiaoye about her judgment of Su-Yun's psychological state. When Bai Xiaoye understood the ins and outs of the matter, she realized that this matter was indeed urgent. She knew better than anyone else about Su-Yun's feelings for their father. When they were chatting in America, she could tell how much Su-Yun wanted to see their father. Now that there was an opportunity, with Su-Yun's character, he definitely wouldn't let it go. However, Bai Xiaoye also knew from Zhuo-Lingyue that this was definitely not an opportunity, but a trap. She had to stop him. She also understood the real reason why Zhuo-Lingyue came to talk to her. To be honest, Bai Xiaoye felt a little disappointed. However, she could understand. If she didn't force Zhuo-Lingyue into a corner, she really wouldn't be able to talk to her. Didn't this give them a chance to ease their relationship? Chapter 1554. Mom, don't worry. Bai Xiaoye reassured Zhuo-Lingyue. She knew what she should do now. I know that you want to protect Su-Yin because he is the man you love, and I will protect him because he is my brother. No matter whether I acknowledge him as my father or not, I will always acknowledge that Su-Yin is my brother. I will not watch him walk into the fire pit. Zhuo-Lingyue drank the last of the bourbon in the glass. The stone in her heart was finally lifted. With Xiaoye looking after Su-Yun, she was more than a little relieved. Coupled with her secret protection, she believed that they would be able to stop Su-Yin from doing something crazy. As long as Su-Yin did not do anything stupid, she would not regret letting Lin Yonghe go. It was already very late. Zhuo-Lingyue was exhausted from the mental pressure and mental struggle of the day. Although Bai Xiaoye liked the current atmosphere, she still asked the waiter to take away the whiskey that was less than a third and personally led Zhuo-Lingyue to the room that had been arranged. After returning to the hotel room, Bai Xiaoye poured a cup of hot water for Zhuo-Lingyue. Mom, it's late. You should rest early. I will leave first. Tomorrow, I will have a good talk with Su-Yun, and try my best to eliminate his dangerous thoughts. If he doesn't have such thoughts, we can be at ease earlier. Xiaoye. Zhuo-Lingyue nodded and slowly changed the topic. Can you not leave tonight? Do you remember when we were young? You and Xiaoqiao always pestered me to sleep with you. Zhuo-Lingyue felt a little sad when she thought of that time. At that time, Xiaoye could only call her master like Xiaoqiao, and she was so strict with them. Now that she thought about it, Zhuo-Lingyue felt that she really should not have done that. She really wanted to make it up to Xiaoye. Xiaoye was so young back then. Every time she wanted her to sleep with her, she would be sternly rejected. Zuolingyue did not dare to imagine what Xiaoya's mental state was like back then. However, Bai Xiaoya was no longer the little girl who needed a warm hug and motherly love. She was now an adult. She could no longer remember the last time she asked for a hug from the only elder in front of her. To be honest, she really didn't need it anymore. However, Bai Xiaoya didn't have the heart to refuse. Although she didn't need it anymore, she knew that Zuolingyue, her master, and her mother needed it. Alright, let's talk for a while. Bai Xiaoya agreed easily. Then I'll go prepare the bath for you first. You've been working hard all day. Drink some water and rest well. Zuolingyue felt her nose turn sour in an instant. She held back the tears that were about to burst out of her eyes and nodded heavily. The sensible daughter in her eyes had really grown up, and was much more mature than she had imagined. That kind of relief was something that she could only experience as a mother. Although the relationship between Zuolingyue and Bai Xiaoya had eased a lot, Zuolingyue still had to leave the next day. She didn't want her existence to disturb Su Yun or Bai Xiaoya's lives. They were already adults and should have their own lives and their own circles. Many times, all parents would have a headache when their children grew up. They felt that their children were rebellious and didn't listen to their words or do things according to their instructions. In fact, it wasn't that their children were rebellious. The word rebellious was only suitable for parents. In fact, this so-called rebellion was a kind of growth and a sign of maturity. Everyone would have their own thoughts and judgment when they matured. They would learn to use their own actions to take responsibility for their own lives. When a person started to pursue their own life, started to have their own dreams and ideals, and then did what they thought they should do, it wasn't that they were rebellious, but that they had grown up. On this point, all parents in the world were contradictory. They wanted their children to grow up and mature, but they also didn't want them to rebel and not listen to their arrangements. However, who would know that the price of growing up was the so-called disobedience? Humans were subjective animals. Humans could rule all the creatures in the world. They could lock lions and tigers in zoos for them to admire. It wasn't just because humans were intelligent animals. Another reason was that humans were subjective animals. Everyone would be used to standing in their own point of view to view the world. Therefore, humans could rule everything. People's thoughts couldn't be forced. This was also the reason why there was no right or wrong in many things. Different people would have different approaches to a matter. It was a very normal phenomenon to seek common ground while reserving differences, especially between parents and children. Some parents would blame their children for never wanting to communicate with them, but they had never thought about it. Was it because they didn't communicate with their children from the beginning? Or was it because every communication was just a disguised order that caused their children to alienate themselves and stop communicating with them? Zuolingyue didn't educate Bai Xiaoya as a mother, but as a master. She had done everything right. She had always respected Bai Xiaoya's thoughts. Even if her thoughts were wrong, she would let her run into a wall and learn to grow up in adversity. This might be the only thing that Zuolingyue felt she didn't need to regret in her life. Therefore, Zuolingyue would still give Bai Xiaoya all the space that belonged to her. What she needed to do was to watch her silently. When Bai Xiaoya needed help, she would still rush out regardless of anything. It wasn't to make up for her, but because she was a mother. That's right. Every mother in the world was great. Even if a mother had made a mistake that could never be made up for, she was still great. After seeing Zuolingyue off, Bai Xiaoya went to find Su Yin at once. She needed to talk to Su Yin frankly. As a younger sister, she needed to talk about their father. Only by doing this could she stop Su Yun's heart from flying to the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island. Su Yun's heart had indeed flown away. Since he got the confirmation from Lin Yonghe, his mind was full of questions about the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island. It was a place of no return. But if you were an ordinary person, you wouldn't be able to go there even if you wanted to. Now, although Su Yin wanted to go to the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island to investigate, he didn't even know where Mardi Fran Island was. This isolated island without any coordinates in the Pacific Ocean was a place that didn't exist in the eyes of ordinary people in this world. Su Yin now needed someone to tell him the coordinates of Mardi Fran Island. There must be someone who knew this place. And Su Yin knew a lot of people who knew him. Among the people he knew, there must be many who knew. Wang Guangxiao must know, Wang Yi might know, Zhuo Lingyue must know, and Huang Fuguo might also know. Lin Ji's master, Lu Xuanji, Gu Zueran Wu Qiuzi, and so on. They should all know where Marty Francis Island was. However, Su Yin was also very clear that although these people knew about it, they would definitely not tell him the location. Even if he talked until his mouth cracked, he was afraid that there was no way he could get anything out of these people. And once Su Yin asked this question, they would inevitably doubt his motives. This was the most troublesome thing for Su Yin. He couldn't ask these people. Because of this matter, Su Yin almost racked his brains. Even in a very important meeting this morning, he had been in a state of absent-mindedness. Many times, it was Lin Gu who reminded him that he came back to his senses. Su Yin knew that he was not in a good state, but he still couldn't control himself to think about this matter. As soon as he returned to the office, Su Yin stared at the satellite map of the Pacific Ocean on the computer screen in a daze. He zoomed in on the map, but no matter how close it was impossible for people to eliminate the islands one by one in the vast Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean was still a sea that had not been conquered by human beings. Its surface area was larger than all the continents on Earth combined. There were more than 25,000 islands of various sizes scattered on the surface of the sea. Half of these islands were still uninhabited. Many of these islands did not have names, and there were many that had not been counted yet. Because on this ocean, how many islands would sink with the rising tide and rise with the falling tide was a number that no one could be sure of. It was really too difficult to find them by himself. Chapter 1555. While Su Yin was deep in thought, Bai Xiaoye quietly walked into the office without him noticing. Bai Xiaoye knew what Su Yin was thinking, so she carefully snuck behind Su Yin. Su Yin had already sensed someone, but Bai Xiaoye's aura was familiar, so it didn't affect his thoughts. The Pacific Ocean extends from the coast of the Antarctic to the Bering Strait. It covers 1/3 of the Earth's ocean. After seeing the image on Su Yin's computer screen, Bai Xiaoye understood what Su Yin meant. Brother, when did you have the mood to study the Pacific Ocean? Su Yin's gaze finally left the computer screen. Your brother knows everything about astronomy and geography. I've always loved to explore all the places that haven't been conquered by humans. I was thinking, the Pacific Ocean is so big. How many places have humans not been to? How many islands do you think there are in the ocean that haven't been recognized by the world? That's a lot. It's probably impossible to count, Bai Xiaoye said. She knew what Su Yin was thinking. He must be looking for the Martifran Island prison for serious criminals. Su Yin was like some people who knew about the Martifran Island prison for serious criminals. He only knew that the prison was set up on Martifran Island, but he didn't know where it was. Looking for a small island in the vast Pacific Ocean was like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was impossible. This was a little too ridiculous. Bai Xiaoye smiled bitterly in her heart. Perhaps Zhuo Lingyue's worries were unnecessary. If Su Yin wanted to go to such a place, it would take him a long time to find it. How could it be so easy to find a small island in the Pacific Ocean? It was simply ridiculous. Brother, do you really know everything about astronomy and geography? If you want to do something in the Pacific Ocean, you should at least know the basics of the Pacific Ocean. Can you tell me about it? Bai Xiaoye pondered for a while, and decided to create some difficulties first. It would be best if she could make Su Yin back off. How was the Pacific Ocean formed? Su Yin was stunned. How would he know? I'm not a primary school student with 1,000 whys. How would I know how the Pacific Ocean was formed? The Earth is mostly made up of water. It's normal for there to be a Pacific Ocean. This is the same as the formation of other oceans. So, what other questions do you want to ask me? Bring it on. Wrong. Bai Xiaoye's understanding of geography was far better than Su Yin's. There was a period of time when she was almost crazy about geography. Even Zhuo Lingyue had thought of grooming Bai Xiaoye to become a geographer. However, Zhuo Lingyue couldn't bear to do so when she thought that a geographer had to wander the world and live in the open. Su Yin was stunned. How is it wrong? The Pacific Ocean is the largest tectonic unit on Earth. Compared to the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean and Arctic Ocean. It has a lot of unique and different evolutionary history. For example, there are seismic and volcanic belts around the Pacific Ocean, widely developed island arcs, trenches, and obvious differences in the tectonic history of the two sides of the ocean. These are all different from the other oceans. Therefore, the formation of the Pacific Ocean is definitely different from the other oceans. For a long time, scientists have proposed many hypotheses about the formation of the Pacific Ocean. In the middle of the 19th century, George Darwin proposed a hypothesis about the separation of the moon. Bai Xiaoye continued. Su Yun was stunned. Bai Xiaoye had really shocked him. Wait, how do you know so much? Do you really know about the Pacific Ocean? If Bai Xiaoye knew about the Pacific Ocean, he might be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort if she could help him. Of course, why would I lie to you? Bai Xiaoye said. I was absolutely obsessed with geography back then. Not only the Pacific Ocean, I studied the formation of all the oceans. I was definitely a professional geography fanatic. If you didn't insist on me helping you at Sky Entertainment Group, I would have gone straight to the famous World Geography magazine. I would have interviewed to be a wanderer. Then, are you familiar with the distribution of the islands in the Pacific Ocean? Su Yun instantly felt that he had found a treasure. If Bai Xiaoye could give him some pointers, he wouldn't have to stare at the satellite map aimlessly. His eyes were almost dazzled. Quick, tell me. Bai Xiaoye knew what Su Yun was thinking. He wanted her to help him, but she also knew that even if she really wanted to help him, it would be useless. There are many islands in the Pacific Ocean. They are mainly distributed in the western and central seas. According to their nature, they are divided into continental islands and ocean islands. For example, Japan Island and Taiwan Island are both continental islands. I want to know more about ocean islands. Su Yun, Marty Francis Island was obviously not a continental island. It was located in the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Tell me about ocean islands. Do you know any strange ocean islands? The more dangerous they are, the more I like to know. Bai Xiaoye nodded. Ocean islands are divided into volcanic islands and coral islands. For example, the Hawaiian Islands in Polynesia are famous for their volcanic islands. The Micronesia Islands are almost all coral islands. I know these too. I want to know about the mysterious islands that I don't know about. Xiaoye, you have studied geography and the Pacific Ocean. You must know more than me. Tell me about them. Su Yun's eyes were full of anticipation. Brother, do you want to go on an adventure? Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. Then go to Adventure Islands. I'm being serious, Su Yun said. Stop joking with me. Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue. There are many mysterious islands in the Pacific Ocean. I want to test you on a question. If you answer correctly, I will tell you. You have to prove to me that your IQ is good enough to go on an adventure island. Su Yun's face darkened. He was completely speechless. There was once an explorer who landed on an isolated island in the Pacific Ocean, but he didn't expect there to be natives on the island. The natives didn't want to be disturbed by outsiders, so the explorer was captured. The native priest told him that he could leave a sentence before he died. If it was true, he would be burned to death. If it was false, he would be torn apart. How could the poor explorer survive? Bai Xiaoye provoked. Do you know that there are many dangers in this world? Su Yun snorted helplessly. Isn't this just a brain twister? Then I'll tell the natives that I left a sentence. I will be torn apart by you. Bai Xiaoye was startled. She felt as if she had been dismembered by 5 horses. If what he said was true, then he should be burned to death. If what he said was a lie, then he should be dismembered by 5 horses. This cycle, with the intelligence of the natives, they probably wouldn't know how to solve it. Okay, stop joking with me. Tell me about those mysterious islands in the Pacific Ocean that you know, Su Yun said. My good sister, I beg you. Hearing this, Bai Xiaoye sat on the chair opposite Su Yun's desk seriously. Brother, let me ask you. Actually, you don't want to know about any mysterious islands. You just want to know about an island, right? Su Yun looked up at Bai Xiaoye with a surprised expression. You just want to know about Marty Franz Island, the geographical coordinates of this island, and the structure of this island, right? Bai Xiaoye asked. Brother, don't hide it from me. And I won't hide it from you either. I know why you want to go to Marty Franz Island. If Su Yun's expression earlier was one of shock, then he was now completely calm. He really didn't expect Bai Xiaoya to know all of this. Did she tell you? Su Yun believed that Bai Xiaoya didn't have this ability. The one who really had the ability to know all this must be Zhuo Lingyue. Bai Xiaoya nodded and didn't deny it. Yes, she told me. She knows what you want to do. She cares about you. Chapter 1556. Su Yun couldn't figure out how Zhuo Lingyue knew all this, but the Empress was the Empress after all. If she wanted to know something, no one could stop her. I know. She definitely knows where Marty Franz Island is. Su Yun smiled. But if I ask her, she definitely won't tell me. You didn't mention this to me because you support me, right? Bai Xiaoya nodded sincerely. That's right, she really didn't support Ren Baqian. Brother, you're really stupid. Although I don't know what kind of prison Marty Franz Island is, it's so hard to find. You can imagine how dangerous it is. Of course I know. If Marty Franz Island isn't dangerous enough and hard to find, it definitely won't be used as a prison for serious criminals. Su Yun said, I've thought about it. Marty Franz Island is definitely the most dangerous island in the Pacific Ocean. Only such an island is qualified to be used as a prison for serious criminals. That's a place of no return. Do you really want to go there? Bai Xiaoya said. For a father you don't even know what he looks like. This sentence provoked Su Yun. Su Yun looked up at Bai Xiaoya and asked, Don't you want to see him? No, Bai Xiaoya said firmly. Bai Xiaoya answered firmly, no matter what the reason is, no matter how great he is, no matter how much he pays for something he thinks is worth it, I can understand him, but I can't accept him or love him. But he gave you life, Su Yun said. Isn't that enough for you to forgive him for everything he did wrong? I don't mean to blame him. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. I really don't have any feelings for him. If it wasn't for him, I might not have to come to this world and suffer all the pain I didn't want to. I've already done my best to not blame him. Bai Xiaoya said. I really can't try to love him. Brother, maybe I don't understand your world, but you don't understand mine either. I can't do anything crazy for him like you can. Su Yun shook his head. It's not for him. It's for myself, and also for you. Since I already know that he is still alive in a corner of this earth, I must find a way to find him. Not only do I want to see him, but I also want him to see you and apologize to you personally. Bai Xiaoya replied sternly, I don't need his apology. I just want you to give up your ridiculous idea. You can't go, because you won't be able to come back if you go. Nothing is certain in this world. It's not like there haven't been any successful escapes from Marty Franz Island. Su Yun said, since someone can escape from that island alive, it means there's still a chance. Do you know the difference between the first floor and the fifth floor of Marty Franz Island? Bai Xiaoya said, they're not even on the same level. You know, the man you're looking for isn't on the first floor of Marty Franz Island. He's on the fifth floor. The fifth floor of the deep-sea prison. How are you going to get him out? Su Yun really hadn't considered this question. All he could think about now was how to find Marty Franz Island. As for what to do after finding the island, he really didn't know. He had never considered this question before. Have you ever thought about why she didn't go to that place if it's easy to get someone out? Bai Xiaoya said. In my world, no one loves that man more than my mother. She can give up everything for him, no matter the cost. But even she gave up, because she knows very well that there's really no chance of coming back from that place. Brother, I beg you, wake up. Don't make such meaningless sacrifices. Everything you've done is meaningless. Su Yun suddenly asked. Since she hasn't been there, why are you so sure that there's no return? Bai Xiaoya was really helpless. Su Yun went into a dead end. What kind of people are locked up in that place? If it's really possible to get out, why are those people still willing to be locked up there? How many people know that he's in Marty Franz Island? Everyone who knows about this is probably more powerful than you. Why didn't any of them go there? Su Yun said indifferently, because they all think that it's a place of no return. So it's indeed a place of no return, Bai Xiaoya said. So many elders who are more powerful than you know that it's a place of no return. Why can't you listen to them? Because none of them have been to that place. That's why they say that it's a place of no return. It's just a theory, Su Yun said firmly. Why should I believe their one-sided words when no one has ever done it? Bai Xiaoya was stunned. She couldn't understand what Su Yun was thinking. Those who have the right to say that there's no return can only be those who have been there and never returned. Su Yun said. Those who haven't been there? They don't have the right to say that. Brother, are you so stubborn? Bai Xiaoya said. Those who have been there can't come back. How can they tell you that they can't come back? So many elders have said so. This is the conclusion of many years of experience. It's not a casual statement. It's a fact, a truth. This is not a fact that you can refute with this kind of fallacy. Su Yun shrugged. But even if it's a place of no return, I still want to explore it. What should I do? Brother, you're really crazy. Bai Xiaoya said. Let's stop talking about this today. Let's not talk about whether there's really a place of no return. Let's talk about where Marty Franz Island is and how to find it. We don't have a clue at all. How can we find it? This was the problem, that Su Yun was having a headache. I originally hoped that you could help me find this place. Who knew that you would oppose me the moment you opened your mouth? You don't support me. I'm not going to tell you. The Pacific Ocean is 18,000 square kilometers, and the deepest Mariana Trench is more than 11,000 meters deep. Bai Xiaoya said. Are you sure you want to find Marty Franz Island in such an ocean? Su Yun nodded. Nothing is impossible in this world if one sets his mind to it. The Shu Dao is difficult. It's even harder than the Shu Dao. Bai Xiaoya said angrily. Can't you listen to me properly? Don't be so stupid. Xiaoya, are you sure you don't want to see him? Su Yun suddenly became serious. I know. You can say that you forgive him and don't need his apology. But have you ever considered that he might be tortured by himself? What if he knows that he owes you an apology? I want to help him. I really want to help him. Bai Xiaoya looked at Su Yun's serious face and was at a loss. Perhaps this was his brother. If Su Yun was not such a person, he would not be his brother. Even if the price of helping him might be to ruin your life? Bai Xiaoya asked seriously. I won't ruin my life so easily, Su Yun said. I believe that there's only one place in this world that you can't return from. The crematorium. Apart from that place, there's no other place that you can't return from. If you can enter, there must be a way out. Su Yun's words were full of philosophy. Bai Xiaoya could not help but think of a way out. However, she quickly came back to her senses. She was here to persuade Su Yun. She could not let him lead her into a ditch. Chapter 1557. Yes, there must be a way out if you can enter. There's no difference between an entrance and an exit. But the problem is that no one is allowed to come out of that place. Bai Xiaoya said, Brother, I definitely can't watch you walk down this path of no return. If you must go, then bring me along. Su Yun refused without even thinking about it. Don't even think about it. I will never bring you there. If I really can't come out, I will never implicate anyone. Not to mention you. Even Lin Ge and the others can forget about participating in this matter with me. Whether this matter succeeds or not, I will bear the responsibility alone. Do you know what kind of behavior you are doing? Bai Xiaoya said. In the past, you would think of your brothers for everything and complete everything with their cooperation. You would ask them to cooperate with you, which means that you are confident in winning, and will not let them fall into danger like you. But this time, you are not willing to look for anyone, not even Lin Ge. What does that mean? It means that you are not confident in winning at all. Although you say that you will return if you go. You don't believe in your own words, do you? Su Yun was completely stumped by Bai Xiaoya's words. He had nothing to refute. Indeed, he admitted that he was not confident at all. He knew the principles that Bai Xiaoya had told him before. No one knew better than Su Yun whether this matter was a one-way trip. Why didn't so many chivalrous and righteous people join forces to go to that place? Even his godfather, Zhang Jinji, did not have the thought of saving people? Impossible. He must have done it. Su Yun dared to guarantee that the old Taisui must have thought of fishing out his disappointing old man at that time. However, he really didn't have that ability. He really couldn't do it, so he didn't do it. Su Yun knew better than anyone what kind of crazy action this was. Moreover, he knew very well why Lin Yonghe had told him everything about Marty Franz Island. Of course, Lin Yonghe did not suddenly want to be a good person. He was setting a trap for him to jump into. Su Yun was very clear about what kind of fiery pit it would be to jump into this step. However, he just couldn't control his thoughts. No matter what, he wanted to complete this matter. He really wanted to let Lin Yonghe see that not only did he fail to trick him, but he also gave him a chance to do so. To Su Yun, this piece of news was simply too important. Su Yun had always needed such confirmation in his heart, but he could not get it. Now that he had it, how could he let go so easily? I won't force you to do it, but I hope that you can promise me that if you are not confident, don't do anything stupid, Bai Xiaoye said. Bai Xiaoye said, if you're 100% confident, then go ahead and do it. I won't stop you. On the contrary, I'll even help you. Su Yun forced a smile. Of course I won't do anything so impulsive. Aren't I preparing now? Don't worry, I won't act impulsively. Xiaoye, how did your mother know all this? Of course, Bai Xiaoye had asked around last night. She knew that Lin Yonghe was looking for trouble with you, so she went to talk to Lin Yonghe. This fellow confessed. And he told you about Marty Franz Island. Not to help you, but to hurt you. Of course I know that. Su Yun smiled and asked, then has she already given Lin Yonghe to? I hope so, but my mother didn't. She let him go, Bai Xiaoye said. Su Yun was stunned. This did not seem like swelling US style. Why? Because that person also gave Lin Yonghe a chance back then, so. Bai Xiaoye shrugged helplessly. I really don't understand. If that man hadn't let her go back then, you wouldn't be in such a dangerous situation today. Now my mother actually let him go, saying that she gave him a chance to find a child. I'm not interested, and I didn't really listen. Anyway, that man didn't die. Su Yun nodded. Lin Yonghe was lucky. That's good too. Let people off whenever possible. You are so magnanimous. Bai Xiaoye tried to change the topic. Don't think about that for now. Deal with your work first. When I came to find you, I heard that some middle-level managers downstairs were complaining about you. They said that you were absent-minded during the meeting about the technology film industry. Su Yun rubbed his temples. Really? I was absent-minded? Wait, what did you just say? I said that you were absent-minded during the meeting about the technology film industry, and that caused some middle-level managers to complain about you, Bai Xiaoye said. Su Yun slapped his forehead. Sigh, this really gave him a headache. This meeting about the technology film industry was very important, but he was really absent-minded. He couldn't even remember what was said during the meeting. This really gave him a headache. Moreover, Zhuo Meiyan had specifically told him that this conference was very important to Sky Entertainment. Nowadays, Hollywood's box office blockbusters were all science-based blockbusters. Acting alone was no longer enough to reach the selling point of today's society. Nowadays, the highest-grossing movies in the world were all technology films, such as Avatar, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Gold of Transformation, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alice in Wonderland, and Batman: The Dark Knight. These were all technology films. If Sky Entertainment really wanted to become the Hollywood of the East, it had to create a technology film industry. Many of the Hollywood production teams were Chinese. As the people with the highest IQ in the world, it wasn't difficult for Sky Entertainment to create a world-class production team. Today's meeting was mainly to discuss the creation of a special effects production team. This was a very important issue for Sky Entertainment. But on this issue, Su Yun was absent-minded. He couldn't even remember what the meeting was about. Wasn't this troublesome? Zhuo Meiyan was still waiting for him to give her a proposal. Xiaoye, stay here and help me with another thing. I'll reorganize my memories. You can also give me some suggestions. Su Yun said and quickly dialed the number of the general assistant. Immediately inform all the middle-level managers of the company that the meeting that just ended will be reconvened. I have an important issue to announce. Yes. The general assistant was stunned by Su Yun's reaction. Just now he saw that Su Yun was absent-minded. Now it was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. What kind of good idea did he come up with? When everyone received the notice, they might have doubts in this regard. After all, the meeting had just ended less than half an hour ago. In this half an hour, Chairman Su had been revived? No one dared to ask why he was absent-minded just now. Since they received the notice to reconvene the meeting, they could only obediently reconvene. Regarding this matter, Su Yun first apologized. He didn't want the people present to be emotional. Then he restarted the issue of Sky Entertainment's transformation into a technology film industry. At present, the biggest contradiction was restarted. Su Yun, who was focused, was also fully involved in the meeting. Bai Xiaoya finally breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Su Yun's serious expression. However, she also knew that this was only a temporary relief for Su Yun's impulsiveness. Su Yun's desire to go to Marty Franz Island was still deeply rooted. Chapter 1558. When Su Yun was absent-minded, some of the middle managers complained that their boss wasn't serious. Now that Su Yun was serious, most of them felt a headache. This was because Su Yun's demands were too high. There were all kinds of difficulties, problems, and tasks that they couldn't solve. Thinking about how they would probably have to run around for the next year, and how they wouldn't even have time to rest, some of them started to sigh before they even started working. After all, they hadn't even started yet. Su Yun didn't hold back and directly questioned the middle managers who had problems with their work attitudes. Although this determined attitude made everyone feel pressured, everyone present knew that Sky Entertainment would definitely soar because of this. Huaxia had so many technological talents, so many good authors and screenwriters. Maybe in the near future, they would really be able to make a large-scale sci-fi fantasy movie that would surpass Avatar. The meeting didn't even have time for lunch. By 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Su Yun felt a burst of hunger. Only then did he realize that time had flown by. Okay, today's meeting is over. Everyone go back and make a summary report. You don't need to give it to me, just give it to President Zhou. Su Yun. Although President Zhou took a flight to Europe yesterday afternoon to attend the Golden Bird Awards and didn't personally attend this meeting, she still attached great importance to this meeting. Therefore, I hope that everyone will take your report seriously. President Zhu's temper isn't as good as mine, you all know that. Yes, Zhou Meiyin's demands were even higher than Su Yun's. Everyone had hope in their hearts, but they also had a lot of pressure on their shoulders. This kind of situation could make a person successful, but it could also crush a person. It all depended on one's ability to bear it. Why would some people stay as employees their whole life? Some people could become middle managers, some could become senior managers, and some could even become big bosses. In fact, a lot of the time, the difference between people wasn't education or ability. Let's not talk about those with high grades and low abilities. Even if you had high grades and low grades, if you didn't take responsibility, you would still end up with nothing in the end. A lot of the time, what was needed in the workplace was responsibility. If you wanted to be middle managers, you had to be more responsible than employees. If you wanted to be a senior manager, you had to have a certain level of responsibility. If you wanted to be a boss, of course you can. Then your tolerance and ability to take responsibility must be far beyond that of ordinary people. Smart people know that when you owe the bank $1 million, it's your own personal problem. If you have the ability to owe the bank 100 million, then this is the bank's problem. If you can owe the bank 10 billion, it will become the country's problem. How much debt you can afford to pay is how big a boss you can be, how much responsibility you have, and how much you can accomplish. It's that simple. There was a particularly interesting story. There was a man who drove an S-Class Mercedes-Benz that cost millions. He took a loan of 10 million from the bank and lived on the edge of life and death. A man who drove a 200,000 yuan Volkswagen Passat had a mortgage of 800,000 yuan. His life was in dire straits. A person who rode an electric scooter that cost 2,000 renminbi had a savings of 100,000 renminbi. His life was comfortable, yet at the same time confused. The three of them met on the road. The one who rode an electric bike envied the one who drove a Volkswagen. The one who drove a Volkswagen envied the one who drove a Mercedes. He really envied people who rode electric scooters. Was this the reality of society? Everyone had become slaves to money and fate? Cats like to eat fish, but cats can't swim. Fish like to eat earthworms, but fish can't go ashore. God gives you a lot of temptations, but He doesn't let you get them easily. Of course, you can't cry out in pain when you bleed, turn on the lights when you're afraid of the dark, or contact someone when you miss them. No matter how big a matter is today, it will be a small matter tomorrow. No matter how big a matter is this year, it will be a story next year. In the end, people are just people with stories. Life is like a dandelion. It seems free, but you can't control yourself. The things that should be done must be done. Even the seemingly difficult tasks would eventually be completed. A company, a group, if they could let you become a senior manager, it would not be for nothing. If you could not solve the problem, why didn't the boss raise a Tom, Dick, or Harry? At this moment, the middle management of Sky Entertainment's Piano Island was deep in thought in their office. Some people couldn't understand why such a big thing couldn't be done by the senior management of the headquarters. Why did they have to make things difficult for them? This was probably the peak of this group of people's lives. Some people understood that this was an opportunity to prove their worth. As long as they could make outstanding contributions to this matter, then next year, they might be promoted to a senior management of Sky Entertainment. People who couldn't get promoted always liked to complain. They complained that they didn't get the opportunity, that they weren't valued. They didn't know that opportunities were slipping away in front of their eyes again and again. No boss would raise a senior manager for no reason. If a senior manager couldn't take responsibility for anything, then what was the point of raising him? If he had a few mistresses, they could help him vent his lust whenever they wanted. But if he had to raise a mediocre higher-up, look at him. The meeting finally ended. The mediocre people who were destined to be mediocre couldn't wait to prepare a meal. They invited each other, and even prepared to invite Soo-Yun. They thought that this way, they could get closer to the boss. Everyone ate and drank, and unknowingly, their relationship got closer. And those who were destined to be successful immediately began to contact capable people to help them with the meeting report. If they wanted to be valued by the boss, they had to start with the meeting report. Even elementary school students understood that if they wanted to be praised by the teacher, they had to write their homework neatly and beautifully. This simple truth was forgotten by most people when they grew up. Soo-Yun knew very well how many of them could really work for Sky Entertainment, and how many of them were just waiting to die. After all, Qingdao hadn't been established for long. Many of the middle-level leaders had been promoted quickly. They hadn't experienced the test of time. Whether or not they could take responsibility in the end depended on this meeting. After everyone left the meeting room, Soo-Yun's heart relaxed a little. Bai Xiaoya brought a cup of espresso and placed it in front of Soo-Yun. Cheer up. You're under a lot of pressure at work right now. If you want me to help you study the Pacific Ocean, then fine. First, make a technological movie that can beat Pacific Rim. Don't copy Atlantic Rim. Huaxia's counterfeits are already embarrassing enough in the world. The movie industry can't lose face. Soo-Yun nodded and drank the coffee in front of him. Yeah. When it comes to all kinds of things, Huaxia is related to counterfeits. Phones, cars, all kinds of technology are counterfeits. The movie industry can't give up on itself. I think I should do something. Well, what you can do is actually very simple. You just have to pay. Bai Xiaoya smiled and said, money makes the world go round. Let's hire a special production team from Hollywood first. We lack experience, and if we want to do it ourselves, we'll have to imitate it. It's inevitable that our products will be suspected of being counterfeits. You should form our own team and learn from others' ideas instead of copying others. Do you think what I said makes sense? I think it's a waste of your talent to let you manage the hotel. Soo-Yun nodded. Even the middle-level managers of these companies wouldn't have thought of this today. No, I think the hotel is more suitable for me. Bai Xiaoya quickly shook her head. I'll have a headache if I have too many things to do. I don't want to grow old so quickly. However, if you really don't have enough brains, I can't just stand by and watch my brother suffer. Brother, remember, don't forget anything. Your sister can help you. Su-Yun nodded. Anything, Bai Xiaoye emphasized. Su-Yun smiled. He knew what Bai Xiaoye meant. Bai Xiaoye was still reminding him not to look for Marty Franz Island in private. Chapter 1559. Perhaps many people didn't understand why Zhuo Lingyue chose to let Lin Yonghe go, because to some extent, Zhuo Lingyue was definitely not a friendly person. She was definitely not a kind person. Facing a guy who had done such a despicable thing, she chose to forgive him. Was it really because Su Qin had given Lin Yonghe a chance? This was only one aspect. Because Zhuo Lingyue had a big doubt in her heart. Although it was just a guess, she still couldn't do anything to Lin Yonghe. This problem was very complicated, so Zhuo Lingyue chose to let him go. After all, Lin Yonghe would definitely not have any evil thoughts after knowing that she had taken care of Su-Yun. Now Lin Yonghe had left Zither Island, but he didn't feel lucky at all. Instead, he felt heavier. His mind was full of Zhuo Lingyue's words. If he had spent more than 20 years to find his son, perhaps he would have enjoyed the happiness of a family reunion by now. A man stood upright at 30, no doubts at 40, and knew his destiny at 50. Lin Yonghe had already passed the age of knowing his destiny. For him now, the most important thing was to know where the foundation of his Lin family was. All his hatred disappeared. He only wanted to know his son's situation. After more than 20 years, he had even forgotten what his son looked like when he was only a few months old. He also didn't remember his son's birthday. He only knew that everything had happened too long ago. Even if he sacrificed his life, he couldn't make up for the grave mistake he had made. Now he only wanted to find his son. As for whether he would be forgiven or not, it didn't matter. What mattered was that he would do everything he could to make up for his son, for the mistakes he had made these years, and for the things he hadn't made up for in time. If all his possessions could be exchanged for the title of dad, he would die on the spot. Lin Yonghe didn't want to make mistakes again. Although it was too late to make up for it now, he still decided to do it. If he persisted in making mistakes, he would have no chance at all. As long as he started now, even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, it would be a motivation for him. Lin Yonghe didn't need anything but this motivation. Only with this motivation could he continue to live, have a hope and thought of living. But now, after more than 20 years, he had no clue at all. How could he find his son? But at this time, he met an old friend. The world was so big, but it seemed so small in certain coincidences. After Lin Yonghe left Qingdao, he found a bar and got drunk. He tried to use alcohol to erode everything and make himself forget everything. Otherwise, he really couldn't make himself fall asleep. He was too tired, too tired. His dream of revenge that had lasted for more than 20 years was suddenly interrupted, and instantly turned into a nightmare for him to atone for his sins. How many 20s can a person have in his lifetime? Lin Yonghe didn't dare to think about it. Finding someone was easier said than done. Cup after cup of strong liquor was poured into Lin Yonghe's throat. It was like a sharp dagger cutting through Lin Yonghe's body and deeply stabbing into his heart. People were always like this. They clearly knew that drinking to drown their sorrows would make them even more sorrowful, but they still recklessly drank one cup after another. It's boring to drink alone. Suddenly, a voice interrupted Lin Yonghe's thoughts. Since you're treating, I can consider drinking with you. Lin Yonghe didn't even turn his head and sneered. Young people nowadays really don't learn well. If you don't have money, don't come out to the nightclub. Even if I have money, I'd rather treat young and beautiful girls to drink. I won't waste it on you. Don't waste your time. Get lost. I say Lin Yonghe, your temper has grown after so many years? Lin Yonghe's whole body shook. He had been hiding his head and tail for so many years, but someone could still recognize him? Who was it? Lin Yonghe turned around in a panic and saw a face that she wasn't familiar with, but she quickly remembered. I shouldn't be considered a young person, right? Xian Yuanji had an unfathomable smile on his face and said lightly, I didn't expect to see you here. The world is really too small. Lin Yonghe really didn't dare to believe his eyes. When he committed that crime, Xian Yuanji also helped Su Chen to find trouble for him. How could it be you? How could you be here? I should be the one asking you this question. Xian Yuanji took Lin Yonghe's wine and poured himself a cup. As the wine sword immortal, of course, he couldn't lack wine. He liked all kinds of wine. It seems that my bet back then was right. I said that Su Chen would give you a way out for the sake of a baby. After all, you committed such a big crime, and it has a fatal relationship with the supervisors above. While speaking, Xian Yuanji had already drunk the wine in the cup and shook his head. You really don't know how to drink. This wine is so fake and you still can't tell? Why are you here? Because of the appearance of Zhuo Lingyue, Lin Yonghe was now in a state of panic. How could he not be nervous when a big shot suddenly appeared? It should be known that although Xian Yuanji's strength wasn't much higher than his, it was definitely not below him. Moreover, everyone knew that once this guy drank some wine, his strength couldn't be estimated normally. I traveled all over the country and have been in this city for 2 days. Xian Yuanji said. Do you think I deliberately followed you? TSK, if I have the time, I might as well find a quiet place to drink. Lin Yonghe was still doubtful. Didn't the Empress send you to kill me? Yo. Xian Yuanji played with the wine cup in his hand while looking at Lin Yonghe. It seems that you are in trouble. How did you provoke that woman? Hee, I don't believe that if you provoked her, would you still be sitting here drinking wine alive? You must be kidding. You really aren't sent by her. Lin Yonghe heaved a sigh of relief. Then why are you looking for me? Let me emphasize again, I don't have the time to look for you. Xian Yuanji said. If you don't believe me, then just pretend that I didn't happen to see you today. Damn. You are really wishy-washy. Bye-bye. Xian Yuanji finished speaking and stood up to leave. This city was too ridiculous. When he came here yesterday, he couldn't sleep at night, so he went to a large chain bar. There was something wrong with the wine inside. Today he saw that this bar wasn't small, but he didn't expect that there was something wrong with the wine inside. Don't go. Although Lin Yonghe and Xian Yuanji weren't familiar with each other, to be able to meet someone who called his name, he really felt lucky. If you want to drink real wine, then stay. Xian Yuanji was startled. I thought that you couldn't drink real wine in the bar. You can't drink outside. Get a room with the lowest cost, then they won't dare to use fake wine to fool around. Lin Yonghe finished speaking and waved his hand at the waiter. After a few words, the waiter immediately brought the two of them to a private room. If you want to drink without worry, then the cost has to be increased. The seats in the hall cost at least a few hundred yuan. How could they serve real wine? If they served real wine, then the bar wouldn't make a fart. One must know that the bar's annual expenses weren't small. Not to mention the maintenance and costs of the equipment. Every year they had to find a group of outside girls to act as support at night. Where there were no women, there would definitely be no men. Without men, how could they sell wine? Right now, the malicious competition in the bar was too serious. Who didn't spend money to hire a few outside girls with long legs and perky butts? Then they definitely wouldn't be popular. What a nightclub needed was the atmosphere. The more popular a nightclub was, the more popularity it could attract. Popularity was the key, and wine didn't matter. Unless it was those rich second generations who had the ability to book the entire place or spend hundreds of thousands every night without trembling, ordinary individuals simply couldn't drink real wine. What? You said you bought it online? 298 yuan for a Chivas 21 set meal for 6 people? Sorry, the thing you drank was definitely fake. I really don't know if it was mixed with urine. Chapter 1560. After the two of them went to a private room, their ears became a lot quieter. Without the noisy music and the excited voices of the young men and women, the atmosphere of the bar was also a lot better. But the private room was naturally better than the service outside. When the two of them just entered the room, the waiter just delivered the drinks that Lin Yonghe ordered, and a few girls with long legs and perky buttocks came in. Yo, are the two bosses waiting for someone? Or are you in the mood to drink alone? Do you want us sisters to help the two bosses pour the drinks? This girl was obviously the bar's bartender. With just a few words, the single male customers lost their sense of direction. For people like them, Drinking a bottle of high-end wine in 10 minutes was not a problem at all. If they fell into their trap, drinking tens of thousands of yuan in one night was simply easy. Every bottle they drank had a commission. Otherwise, how could the girls use their own bodies to fight? Not only did they feel uncomfortable drinking and vomit for a night, but they also had to endure the touching of the customers with dirty hands and feet. This job was really not easy. You can pour the drinks after pouring, close the door and leave. Lin Yonghe was not in the mood to do these messy things right now. His mind was in a mess. Of course, he had something to ask of Xian Yuanji. Otherwise, how could he have the time to invite an unfamiliar old friend to drink? Xian Yuanji did not care. It's not easy for a girl to earn a little money. Looking at your clothes now, you can be considered a successful person. You can't be unwilling to even spend this little money, right? Armani shirt, Hermes belt, TSK, Vacheron Constantin watch. Boss Lin, you are not the kind of person who likes to wear fake goods to pretend to be an egg. Lin Yonghe didn't care about the money spent to find two girls to accompany him, but he just wanted a quiet place. However, since Xian Yuanji liked this, he was immediately satisfied. You guys come over and sit down. Accompany this boss well. Everything else can be discussed. Boss, we sisters know that you two are elegant gentlemen. We girls have already entered your door. How can you have the nerve to ask us to leave? The leader of the group of girls had a sweet mouth. She even pretended to be coquettish as she joked. We'll just say that if the two bosses accidentally enter our door, we'll be too embarrassed to ask the two bosses to leave. The door in his words was not as simple as a door. Perhaps he was referring to the back door. It was a pity that Lin Yonghe didn't have the mood to flirt. For the past 20 years, he hadn't had the mood to flirt, because his heart was focused on revenge. Now he didn't have the mood to do that. His heart was on the matter of finding someone. Boss Lin, that's not what I meant. Xian Yuanji saw that the group of girls were so fierce and quickly stopped them. You know that I like to drink alone and don't want to be disturbed. How about this, since they are here, don't let them leave empty-handed. How about giving them a tip? Lin Yonghe was too lazy to waste time. She took out a small stack of money from her wallet and said, You can divide it among yourselves. Hurry up and go wherever you want. Don't bother us again. Of course, anything could be negotiated with money. These girls were originally here for money. Otherwise, who would want to flirt in front of the two uncles? The room finally quieted down, and Lin Yonghe's mood finally calmed down. Xian Yuanji tasted the wine sent in this time. It was indeed different from the wine outside. This was called wine. The wine outside was just alcohol mixed with water, and added a little color. The two didn't have much to talk about. After a few rounds of toasting, Lin Yonghe finally couldn't help but say, You said that Su Chen let me go because of a baby. That baby, is it my? It's your baby. Xian Yuanji nodded and said, Otherwise, do you think you can still sit in this box and drink with me now? Lin Yonghe held the wine glass and fell silent. However, I really want to know how you provoked Sua Lingyue. Xian Yuanji smiled slightly and drank the wine in the glass. Does this matter have anything to do with Su Chen? Or is it that you actually went to provoke that brat without knowing the difference between life and death? You know who the guy I'm talking about is. Su Yin. Lin Yonghe felt as if something was stuck in his throat. He didn't know where to start. He poured himself a full glass of wine, and like Xian Yuanji, he downed it in one gulp. Those 6 catty brothers and 8 catty brothers online were nothing in front of them. Xian Yuanji knew that he guessed right. Since you're still alive now, it means that Su Yin is fine. You're lucky. If you really did something to that guy, not only Zhuo Lingyue won't let you go, there are too many people who won't let you go. In other words, Xian Yuanji was one of them. If Lin Yonghe did something to Su Yin, Xian Yuanji wouldn't let Lin Yonghe walk out of this room standing. Lin Yonghe didn't have the courage to admit that he told Su Yin about Marty Franz Island. Who knew if Xian Yuanji would take it seriously after knowing it? Can I ask you a question? Lin Yonghe quickly tried to change the topic. Xian Yuanji's character was unruly, so he didn't take Lin Yonghe's failed revenge seriously. Say it. You can't bear to take others' kindness. I've drunk so much wine from you. If I can't even answer your small question, wouldn't it be too disloyal? Then I really have to thank you, Lin Yongha said. Since you mentioned the baby, do you know where he is? Oh, after more than 20 years, you finally figured it out? You want to come back to find your own flesh and blood? Xian Yuanji smiled lazily. He continued to drink and said, you can still be enlightened in the end. I thought you would be like this for the rest of your life. Lin Yongha, you can figure things out. Although it's a little late, there's still a chance to make up for it. Lin Yongha stared at Xian Yuanji with his eyes wide open. So you know where the child is? Of course I don't know, Xian Yuanji said. Su Chen didn't give the child to me. Oh. Lin Yongha was disappointed. So the child has always been in his hands. Xian Yuanji added again. But I have a brain. Please use your brain. Su Chen even handed his own son to Zhang Taisui. How can he have the time to take care of your child? Zhang Taisui sent Su Yin to the Dragon Brigade. We all know about this. You've been seeking revenge for more than 20 years. It's impossible that you don't know. Lin Yongha began to realize that there was a turning point. You mean my son may also be in the Dragon Brigade? I can't give you any definite words about this, Xian Yuanji said. But if you're not stupid, then you should know who to ask about this. Wang Yi. Lin Yongha suddenly realized and said with a serious face. Xian Yuanji nodded. At least you have some brains. But if you go to Wang Yi about this, don't tell him that it has something to do with me. Otherwise, he'll blame me for bringing trouble to him. Whether you can find Wang Yi is still a problem. Yanjing is so big, and he's also a leader of a national secret organization. You'll have to put in some effort. I thank you for this glass of wine. Lin Yongha was like a lonely boat at sea who suddenly saw the light of a lighthouse. His gratitude to Xian Yuanji was definitely not something that could be expressed clearly with words. Whether I can find him or not, I'm grateful for everything you told me today. Xian Yuanji shook his head lightly. There are conditions. I told you everything, but you can't provoke that kid in the future. Especially, you can't let that kid know that his father is in prison on Mardifran Island. Hearing Xian Yuanji's words, Lin Yongha lowered his head guiltily. He finally mustered up the courage to admit. This he already knows. Xian Yuanji's original mood to drink instantly disappeared. He could only squeeze out a few words between his teeth. You old bastard, you're really sinister. You. Fine, you're ruthless. Before I regret it, you better get as far away as possible. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Lin Yongha finished speaking and got up to leave. He knew that Xian Yuanji wasn't joking. It wasn't that Lin Yongha was afraid of dying, but he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to see his child before he died. Chapter 1561. In any case, Lin Yongha got a very useful clue from Xian Yuanji. He had to go to Yanjing. It was not difficult to find Wang Yi. As long as he made some noise in Yanjing, Wang Yi would definitely take the initiative to find him. Lin Yongha had seen the skills of the Dragon Fury team members as early as 20 years ago, so he knew clearly what kind of people he should meet. Lin Yongha drank too much, so he could only pay a high price to hire a designated driver to send him to Yanjing overnight. Although the excessive alcohol made him groggy, he could not make himself fall asleep anyway. His mind was full of the scene of seeing Wang Yi and finding his son. Everything seemed so close, but the moment his mood surged, it became so far away. The drinks Lin Yongha ordered were enough for Xian Yuanji to drink in the bar all night. Like Lin Yongha, Xian Yuanji knew that he also had something to do. Although he had only met Su Yun once and called him brother by mistake, he knew clearly about Su Yun's temperament. This guy was just like his father, Su Chen. No one could stop him from doing what he wanted to do. No matter if it was a mountain of knives or a sea of flames, as long as he believed that he should do it. And if it was right after he did it, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Even 100 ox heads could not pull him back. Now, Xian Yuanji knew clearly what Su Yun wanted to do. He drank so much but still could not think of a way to stop and persuade Su Yun. This is really troublesome, haha. Xian Yuanji drank and smiled bitterly in his heart. He really did not expect Lin Yongha to make such a big trouble. What made him more confused was that Lin Yongha had made such a big mistake, but Zueling Yue could still let him leave. She was really a woman that he could not understand. Xian Yuanji raised his glass. He knew that many things looked like a glass of strong liquor in this glass. It looked beautiful and sparkling, tasted spicy and pungent, but after it passed through the throat, it could bring comfort to the spirit and soul. Perhaps only a wine lover like him could understand that kind of comfort. Xian Yuanji drank cup after cup of the crystal-clear spicy liquid. He was very clear that he was addicted to alcohol, but the number of adults in the world who hadn't touched a single drop of alcohol in their lifetime was probably less than 5%. Furthermore, these 5% were definitely people from poor areas who couldn't even afford to eat. How could they have the mood to drink? There was a reason why Xian Yuanji was addicted to alcohol. Worry, depression, loneliness, nervousness, anxiety, sadness, depression, and other negative emotions were all important reasons for his addiction. Although Xian Yuanji's condition could not be seen on the surface, who knew what was going on in his heart? At least people could see his loneliness. He had always been alone. No matter where he went, he was always alone. He was a celibate. When the dream he pursued was completely shattered, he became like this. As for what he pursued, no one knew. This was a martial arts addict with alcohol addiction. The more he drank, the more terrifying his strength was. No one knew the reason for this. Those who knew him only knew that Xian Yuanji, who had drunk alcohol, could not be provoked. Once provoked, it would bring a lot of trouble to oneself. Boss, why are you drinking alone? Where's the boss just now? The women with big breasts and big buttocks once again appeared in Xian Yuanji's private room. Facing the generous boss, they were like cats who smelled blood. How could they easily choose to leave? Isn't it good to drink alone? Xian Yuanji sneered. What, the tip he gave you just now was not enough? Hehehe boss, don't look at us so lowly, okay? One of the women said while sticking close to Xian Yuanji. We admire mature men like you. Mature men have taste. We like you. Xian Yuanji laughed. So even if I'm a poor man, you won't dislike me? You'll even buy wine to drink with me? Of course. A few of the women were secretly happy. Another rich man took the bait. Okay, let's not talk about other things. These wines are almost finished. Xian Yuanji said. If you want to treat me, I don't mind continuing to drink. Okay, of course. They didn't know that Xian Yuanji wasn't joking. In the eyes of these women, they had never seen a man let a woman pay the bill. They believed that they could order as much as they wanted and drink as much as they wanted. In the end, the boss would still pay the bill. Xian Yuanji didn't know how many kinds of wine he had drunk. In the end, he was completely excited. These women who had been drinking for a long time were really shocked. They were all drunk to death, but the boss was still fine. He was really a wine god. Wine sword immortal, wine sword immortal. If one didn't have a little alcohol tolerance, who would dare to bear this title? Xian Yuanji finally drank to his heart's content. He picked up his clothes and got up. Thank you for the hospitality. You can continue. I'll leave first. Leave? This guy was really going to leave without paying the bill? Of course, there was no way. The staff who had been waiting at the door strode in. Boss, please pay the bill. I'll pay the bill. Xian Yuanji was stunned. He turned around and pointed at the women. Look, these ladies said that they would treat me to wine. My friend has already paid for the wine before. The rest will be on their heads. You can ask them for it. Boss, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to drink a tyrant? The young man holding the bill frowned. I've been doing this for so many years. I've never heard of anyone who let a woman pay the bill. Don't try to cheat. 210,000. If you don't pay the bill, don't think about leaving. 210,000? Xian Yuanji was stunned. He immediately understood that he was tricked by the waiter. Little brother, if you really want it, I can still take out $21. 210,000. You can find whoever you want. Aya, you're a tortoise eating a scale. You're determined to play this game with us. The young man suddenly glared. Brothers, get your weapons. Who wants to go back on their words? With this call, it was obvious that the men who had been prepared long ago rushed in from outside. For rich men with foreign accents, they would kill as many as they could. This was the rule of their bar. Therefore, they would definitely not let the man in front of them go easily. The young man looked at his men proudly and said to Xian Yuanji again. Boss, you have to think clearly. What do you want to do with this? I'll give you face. With my authority, I'll give you a 0. 200,000. Not a cent less. 20. Xian Yuanji took out a piece of change from his pocket. Tip, keep the change. After you get off work, take this money and treat your brothers to spicy strips or something. Brothers, you've worked hard. Beat. The young man gritted his teeth and squeezed out a word from between his lips. 3 to 5 minutes later, Xian Yuanji walked out of the private room with his body swaying as light as a feather. The room was in a complete mess, and those girls who drank too much were already sober from fright. 15 strong fighters. Normally, they could fight 1 against 3, but today, they were all knocked down by a drunkard. Xian Yuanji waved his hand as he walked. Advise your bar owner to get some real alcohol in the future. If one day someone dies from drinking, it won't be as simple as losing money. You have to pay attention to a conscience when doing business. Also, the ladies who accompany you shouldn't ruin their bodies like this. You only see how much you earn from drinking, but you don't know how much your bodies have been ruined. It'll be too late to regret when you can't have children. This drunken man swayed and walked out of the bar casually. No one dared to stop him. The bar owner, who had witnessed how he beat 15 people by himself, admitted defeat. Today's matter, he had tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing a handful of rice. Chapter 1562. After Xian Yuanji left the bar, he regretted it a little. He should have asked Lin Yonghe, that old bastard, to send him to Guqin Island. Now he was still 300 or 400 kilometers away from Guqin Island. What should he do? He really didn't have any money in his pocket. After so many years of traveling, Xian Yuanji was still a pauper. If there was nothing important, he could walk to Guqin Island on foot. He could spend 2 or 3 days slowly enjoying the scenery along the way. But now he wanted to see Su Yin a minute earlier, and see what was going on with him. Xian Yuanji didn't see eye to eye with Su Yin back then because Su Chen's momentum was too oppressive. When he stood in front of Su Chen, he felt especially pressured. But Su Yin was different. Xian Yuanji just felt that Su Yin was more easygoing and unruly. He was more suitable for Xian Yuanji to make friends with. So he was quite different from others. He didn't do it for Su Yin. Last time he helped Su Yin was because of Zhang Taisui. This time he helped Su Yin because Xian Yuanji helped Su Yin for Su Chen. For his brother, he couldn't just watch Su Yin walk on a path of no return. No matter what he said, Marty Franz Island was definitely a forbidden area. Xian Yuanji was very insistent on this. Su Yin was a stubborn person. He had his own thoughts and judgment. This was a good thing for him, but sometimes it wasn't a good thing. This kind of stubbornness would make him insist on completing a beautiful thing, but it would also make him helplessly fall into a painful struggle. Xian Yuanji left the bar unhurriedly. But in the bar owner's eyes never left him. Finally, the bar owner couldn't hold back and waved to the man beside him. Go stop this expert for me. Just say that I have an invitation. This person is definitely not simple. As long as I can get his help, I can destroy that bastard from the sunken bar. Boss, this person just directly gave our brothers. The underling beside the bar owner said with a look of surprise. He didn't want to go up and be kicked back by this person. Clearly, the other party was not someone to be trifled with. What if he was still angry? If she vented her anger on him, who could he cry to? If I tell you to go, then go. There's no need to talk so much nonsense. The bar owner gave his underling a kick. The man had no choice but to speed up and run behind Xian Yuanji. Xian Yuanji didn't turn around when he heard the footsteps. He wasn't in the mood to argue with the people of this small bar. Hi, Master R. Boss wants to see you. When this guy was nervous, he stuttered. He was afraid and panicked. He was afraid that the other party would turn around and slap him. If that happened, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. Go play wherever you want. I'm not in the mood to talk nonsense with you. Xian Yuanji said indifferently. Let me emphasize, I don't have the money to compensate. No, absolutely not. Our boss will never let you lose money. He just wants to invite you. He feels that you are very awesome. You are an expert. He wants to invite you to sit down and pay his respects to you. This guy really knew how to talk. Xian Yuanji smiled slightly. Do you have something to ask of me? But at this time, if someone wanted him to help with something, it couldn't be better. It just so happened that they had a supply and demand relationship. If someone wanted him to help with something, then of course he had to help him do something. No. As expected of an expert. Okay. You can ask me to do something, but there are conditions. Xian Yuanji knew that someone could send him to Qingdao. Please, please, please. Expert, please come with me. Hearing that the other party agreed, the underling was relieved. If he didn't invite the person that the boss wanted to invite back, he would definitely be scolded again. Xian Yuanji was brought to the bar owner's office. The bar owner had already prepared a bottle of good quality Scotch whiskey and was waiting for Xian Yuanji's arrival. When the door of the room was pushed open, the bar owner who saw Xian Yuanji immediately stood up to welcome him. I said that my small place is honored today. It turns out that there is an expert like you. Please, please sit. If you don't mind, let's have a drink. This can be. Xian Yuanji didn't care about trifles. He went forward and picked up the glass and drank it in one gulp. I am a straightforward person. I don't like to beat around the bush. I know that you must have something to ask of me, but I have a condition. If you ask me to do something, I can do it. Then after I am done, you have to arrange a car to send me to Qingdao overnight. If you think it is suitable, we can make a deal. If not, I will leave now. Suitable, suitable. Of course it is suitable. This is too suitable. The bar owner didn't expect the other party to be so straightforward. Xian Yuanji frowned. Of course, I am a person with principles. If you want me to do something like murder or arson, then I am sorry, you have found the wrong person. Do you understand? I understand. I am also a law-abiding person. The bar owner quickly said. Law-abiding? Today, the person who beat you and smashed your room is a lesson to you. Don't sell fake wine in the future. Xian Yuanji sneered. Master, I will remember this lesson. I feel that I should be taught a lesson like this. The bar owner said. I have a friend like me, who also sells fake wine. I think that you should educate him like how you educate me. If you help me educate him, I will send you to Qingdao. Do you think this is appropriate? Xian Yuanji understood and nodded. No wonder they say that people of the same trade are enemies. All right, since I am selling fake wine, I don't have any psychological burden. I will do as you say. Get someone to send me there. When I am done, send me directly to Qingdao. No problem. The bar owner was very happy that he was able to settle a matter so quickly. He was certain that his communication skills had increased by 10 points. He didn't know that Xian Yuanji was in a hurry to go to Qingdao. Otherwise, who would have the time to care about his nonsense? The bar owner arranged for his subordinates to send Xian Yuanji to the sunken bar. Xian Yuanji didn't disappoint. Within 10 minutes, he caused a huge mess in the bar. More than 20 thugs were knocked down. Xian Yuanji directly ordered an entire bottle of fake wine and forced it into the stomach of the sunken bar's owner. He told him that he couldn't blame anyone but himself for drinking this shit. After that, Xian Yuanji directly went on the highway back to Qingdao. At this speed, he would be able to reach Qingdao by tonight. Of course, it was already late. Even if Xian Yuanji went there, he would have to wait until tomorrow morning to go to Sky Entertainment to find Su Yun. The bar owner also gave Xian Yuanji another 10,000 yuan for his hard work. It was enough for him to stay in a hotel or something after arriving at Qingdao. Everyone took what they needed. The bar owner was very satisfied with what this expert had done. At least he could make his competitors clean up for a month. In this month, he would be able to establish a considerable advantage in the industry. At least the matter of him selling fake wine wasn't publicized. If he started to provide real wine now, it wouldn't be noticed by consumers. However, his competitors were notorious. In the future, even if he provided real wine, there would be some people who wouldn't dare to drink it. Of course, this matter still needed his help to hype it up. He wanted to let the locals know that the sunken bar had been smashed by someone for selling fake wine. Xian Yuanji was too lazy to pay attention to their malicious thoughts. He knew that these people couldn't do it. Dishonest businessmen would eventually die because of this. A truly successful businessman would always understand what he was doing and always understand what he should do. Chapter 1563. Xian Yuanji used the shortest amount of time to arrive at Qingdao. However, at this time, everyone was probably asleep. He had drunk a lot, and after a few hours of bumpy ride, Xian Yuanji didn't think too much about it. He went straight to the movie hotel. This was a property under Sky Entertainment. He spent the 10,000 yuan he just earned on Sky Entertainment. After arriving at the movie hotel, Xian Yuanji directly asked the person who sent him here to go back. Seeing that this guy drove 300 or 400 kilometers in the middle of the night to send him off, Xian Yuanji generously gave him 1,000 yuan service fee. Anyway, the wool was pulled from the sheep, so throwing it away didn't hurt. Xian Yuanji rarely experienced this kind of rich life. Most of the time, he would sleep in the wild. After all, as a ranger, he had long been used to the life of the sky and the earth as his bed. Staying in a hotel was something that only rich people did. Xian Yuanji couldn't afford to live in a hotel. Of course, Xian Yuanji also needed to live. Living required money. Clothes and food were needed. Even if he often slept in the wild, he still needed to take a bath. Occasionally, he still needed to spend money. As long as people lived in this world, they couldn't live without money. It could even be said that people's life was for money. No matter how strong a person's integrity was, would they dare to say that they didn't do things for money? If they didn't make money, wouldn't they starve to death? Of course, that's why it was said to be secular, 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 secular. Xian Yuanji also knew how to make money. It was easy for him to make money. Just like today, if it was a normal day, the people who asked him to settle things were not as simple as a small bar owner. Those big bosses like to say to others, "How much do you want? Fill in the number yourself." Generally, when this kind of money was pushed in front of Xian Yuanji would write at least 7 digits. Otherwise, it would really be a waste of these big bosses' hearts. Therefore, Xian Yuanji was definitely not someone who did not have the ability to earn money. The reason why he was in such a poor state every day was because the money he earned, other than buying new clothes, would be donated to the local Project Hope. Xian Yuanji was very clear about one thing. The future of the country was in the hands of the children. Children from rich families often didn't cherish the opportunity to go to school. The children in Project Hope cherished this opportunity as much as they cherished their lives. If 10,000 yuan was 1 centimeter thick, then the money donated by Xian Yuanji was at least as tall as a 7-story residential building. This was at least. Although he was a dissolute tourist, many people who saw him looked at him in their hearts. Of course. Why did he choose to live such a lonely life? But they didn't know that he did many meaningful things in his life, compared to those self-righteous fellows of their own accord. Today was different. Xian Yuanji had money in his pocket again, and his back was straight. Xian Yuanji walked to the front desk and asked, "What's the best room here like? Presidential suite?" Hearing the guest's words, the manager on duty immediately went up to greet them personally. Because the nature of the movie hotel was different, they might have to receive important guests from abroad every night. Therefore, there were managers on duty 24 hours a day. Bai Xiaoya had set up 5 managers in the hotel to take turns to ensure that they received all the important guests. Obviously, Xian Yuanji was a VIP. He directly asked for the presidential suite. "Hello, sir. Please follow me here." Since he was a VIP, he would definitely receive VIP service. He would swipe his card, register, and everything would be done in the room. Bai Xiaoya also set a more humane rule. VIPs who arrived at the hotel after 11 p.m. were not allowed to disturb the guest's rest. They only needed to register the guest's identity and let the guest rest. Everything would be settled after 8 a.m. the next day, including the room fee. Therefore, after Xian Yuanji was brought to the presidential suite, the guest left immediately after registering his identity. Xian Yuanji was still a little confused. Why didn't they want money? Did they know that he was their boss's brother? Forget it. He didn't care so much. He took a shower and went to sleep. When he opened his eyes, it was already 8 a.m. the next day. The phone in the guest room became his alarm clock. "Hello." Xian Yuanji yawned and picked up the phone. "Sir, Did you rest well last night? A sweet voice came from one of the three people who woke him up. Xian Yuanji nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. It was pretty good. Then I will arrange for the service staff to settle the bill in your room. Is it convenient for you now? It's convenient. Come on. Xian Yuanji knew that they would not forget to settle the bill. It was really good to stay in the hotel first, and then settle the bill. It was better than some hospitals. However, when the service staff placed the bill in front of Xian Yuanji was stunned. The price was too high, wasn't it? He didn't know that he was staying in the hotel's highest level suite. The guest manager on duty yesterday brought him here, because he saw the Vacheron Constantin double-sided astronomical watch on Xian Yuanji's wrist. The guest manager on duty last night was a watch enthusiast, so he could tell at a glance what was real and what was fake. The watch on Xian Yuanji's wrist had a diameter of 47 millimeters. It could directly appreciate the operation of the tourbillon. It was the essence of Vacheron Constantin's 250 years of watch manufacturing technology and design skills. This was the world's most outstanding complex function watch. It was impossible to be counterfeited. There were only 7 products of this watch in the world. The black dial of Xian Yuanji's watch was numbered number 1. It was made of 18K rose gold and had a dual surface design. It had a unique twisting pattern on the dial, and it took over 10,000 hours to make. It was worth over 12 million renminbi. Therefore, the guest manager on duty firmly believed that Xian Yuanji was a VIP. However, the watch on the wrist of this VIP was from the hands of a boss. It was not his own. If Xian Yuanji knew that the watch was so valuable, he would have donated it. The problem was that he didn't know that he had 9,000 renminbi in his pocket. The most luxurious room cost tens of thousands of RMB for a night. I don't have that much money. Xian Yuanji was stunned for a moment. That, can you call your boss over? Your boss and I are brothers. He is my brother. The service staff was speechless. He quickly called the guest manager who came to take over the morning shift. The guest manager didn't understand watches. Once he heard that this guy was staying in such a good room, and said that he didn't have money, of course he was unwilling. He had to send this to the police. I already said that your boss is my brother. Xian Yuanji knew that as long as Su Yun came, the misunderstanding would be resolved. Our boss is your brother? Let me tell you, our boss is a woman. Are you crazy? If you don't have money, why are you pretending to be rich? The guest manager on duty was very angry. He didn't understand why the guy on duty last night let such a person in. You better not explain anymore. In his eyes, the boss was Bai Xiaoya. Therefore, he didn't believe Xian Yuanji when he said that the boss was his brother. Don't be so angry. Let's clarify this matter first. Otherwise, your boss will blame you later. Xian Yuanji was not surprised. If you don't believe me, call your boss over and let him see if he knows me. Won't this matter be settled? If he says that he doesn't know me, I won't have any objections even if you beat me to the police station. All right. That's what you said. The guest manager knew that he needed to inform the boss about this matter. He quickly dialed Bai Xiaoya's secretary's number and informed her of the matter. When he received a reply, he was relieved. After hanging up the phone, the guest manager pointed at Xian Yuanji fiercely. I'll wait. I'll see how you explain. Don't blame me for being impolite later. I've seen people eat and dash, but I've never seen someone sleep in an overlord's room. You're really a weirdo. Xian Yuanji didn't care about what the guest said. He waited for Su Yin to appear. Chapter 1564. Bai Xiaoya didn't know that she had a big brother in the society. When she heard someone shouting and talking nonsense, she naturally wouldn't ignore it. Although the movie hotel didn't care about the accommodation fee for one night, if this matter was spread out, it would be inevitable that everyone would pretend to be rich and try the presidential suite. Who are you? Do you know where this is? Nonsense. Nonsense. Bai Xiaoya came to the scene and scolded angrily, because she had no impression of this slovenly man. How can you do such a brainless thing? Are you too free? Xian Yuanji was also confused. The person who came wasn't Su Yun, but a girl. This girl looked so familiar that Xian Yuanji even suspected that his eyes were playing tricks on him. Xian Yuanji saw through the familiar facial features at a glance. She was too similar to Su Qin. Even if she was a girl, they were too similar. That kind of resemblance was definitely not as simple as the surface. In addition, her expression, tone, and manner of speech were exactly the same as Zhuo Lingyue's. Xian Yuanji only took a glance and suddenly realized who this girl was. He was completely sure of his judgment. If she wasn't, he would have no problem cutting off his head. What are you looking at? Do you not want your eyeballs anymore? Seeing Xian Yuanji staring at Bai Xiaoye without any courtesy, the manager on duty was furious. General Manager Bai, leave this matter to me. I will definitely make this guy unable to leave standing. Hearing the manager on duty's boastful words, Xian Yuanji smiled disdainfully and came back to his senses. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to not let me leave standing. Don't be a clown here. I have something to say to your boss. You'd better leave first. The manager on duty glared at him. Aya, I find that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Do you know what I did in the past? I came from the army and was a scout. After saying that, the manager on duty directly attacked. It looked like he was in a fighting stance. Unfortunately, his opponent was Xian Yuanji, a real expert above the third level of the profound world realm. Not to mention that the manager on duty only practiced a little sanda, and wasn't a real scout. Even if a real scout came, he wouldn't be Xian Yuanji's opponent. One move, just one move. Most people didn't even see how Xian Yuanji made his move. The manager on duty fell to the ground like a wild goose. He was confused as to how he was thrown out by the person in front of him. Only then did Bai Xiaoye realize that the other party was an expert whose aura she couldn't detect at all. With Bai Xiaoye's strength, she couldn't detect Su Yun's aura. This meant that this slovenly-looking man was actually an expert like Su Yun, or even stronger than Su Yun. Who the hell are you? Bai Xiaoye didn't dare to underestimate this man. If he wanted to harm her, she believed that she wouldn't be able to resist. Recently, Fan Bing's assassination attempt happened to Su Yun. Therefore, it was hard for Bai Xiaoye not to worry about this person who was much stronger than her. Xian Yuanji knew that Bai Xiaoye already knew that he wasn't an ordinary person. He smiled and said, You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. Little girl, what's the relationship between you and Zhuo Lingyue? Bai Xiaoye became nervous. The air in the room began to freeze. In this small room, if this mysterious guy in front of her made a move, Bai Xiaoye wouldn't even have a chance to escape. She knew very well that she was definitely not this person's opponent. Don't be so nervous. I don't have any bad intentions. Xian Yuanji said indifferently. Also, I don't dare to do anything to you based on your relationship with Zhuo Lingyue. I don't have the courage to provoke her daughter. Xian Yuanji raised his hands to show that he didn't have any bad intentions. Only then did Bai Xiaoye let out a sigh of relief. However, who was this person who knew about Zhuo Lingyue's relationship with her? Then who are you? Why do you know all this? Since her identity had been guessed, Bai Xiaoye didn't have to deny it. Why did you come here to find me? Xian Yuanji shook his head helplessly. I didn't come here to find you. I really didn't know you were here. I came here to find Su Yun, who knew that he would bring you here. After speaking, Xian Yuanji glanced at the manager on duty who was grieving with a face full of fear. Seeing Xian Yuanji's gaze, the manager on duty was so scared that his whole body trembled. He cursed himself in his heart for being so unlucky to meet such a jinx. You're looking for my brother? Bai Xiaoye couldn't help but become nervous again. Xian Yuanji couldn't help but laugh. It seems that you already know about your relationship with Su Yun. That's right, I'm looking for your brother. Of course you don't have to worry. Your brother and I are brothers. We've been through life and death together. Bai Xiaoye was shocked. This man was obviously a senior of the previous generation in the underground society. He was actually brothers with Su Yun? Wasn't this messing up the seniority? You must take me to see Su Yun. I have something very important to stop him. Xian Yuanji had a headache. It was easier said than done. At least, he didn't have enough reason to persuade Su Yun. Bai Xiaoye immediately became spirited. She looked at Xian Yuanji with a serious expression. What do you want to stop him from doing? Xian Yuanji saw Bai Xiaoya's probing expression and realized that she must know about this matter. You must know that Lin Yonghe was killed by your mother, right? If you know who Lin Yonghe is, then you should know what to stop Su Yin from doing. Bai Xiaoya immediately became excited. You're also here to persuade my brother not to go to Martifren Island, right? Xian Yuanji was stunned. So we have a common goal? Of course. I really need your help. Bai Xiaoya even changed the way she addressed Xian Yuanji. I don't have enough means to persuade my brother alone. I've already tried to talk to him about this problem. Although he didn't argue with me verbally, I can feel that he still believes in his actions. Xian Yuanji smiled. There's no other way. This is Su Yin. You're his sister. You should know his stubbornness better than I do. That's why I came here. I was worried that this kid wouldn't listen to others' advice. However, the situation now is much better than I thought. At least he still has you as his sister to sound the alarm. But I really don't know how much of an effect my words have. Bai Xiaoya shook her head. Senior, if you can help me persuade my brother, I'll really thank you. I'm sorry, I still don't know how to address you. My surname is Xianyuan and my first name is Ji. Xian Yuanji smiled. If you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother. After thinking for a while, Xian Yuanji changed his words. No. If you call me Big Brother, your mother will be taking advantage of you. It's better not. Bai Xiaoya couldn't call a senior brother. Senior Xian Yuanji. Then I'll leave my brother's matter to you. I'll bring you to him now. He doesn't usually care about the film studio and hotel. Xian Yuanji was stunned. Yes, he's busy at the film studio. Bai Xiaoya said. Let's go now. It's just opposite. It's very close. Xian Yuanji was about to leave with Bai Xiaoya when he remembered something. Wait. I have to explain to this manager first. I definitely won't pay because I know your boss. I really didn't dare to think that the suite costs tens of thousands a night. I only have 9,000 yuan on me. I'll give it all to you so that people won't say that I'm thick-skinned behind my back. The manager on duty didn't dare to accept it. Even Manager Bai was so respectful to him. No. Senior, it's my fault for not recognizing you. Please don't take offense. Okay, you can go back to your work. Bai Xiaoya sent the manager on duty away and said to Xian Yuanji. Senior Xian Yuanji, this is really a misunderstanding. It's my fault that I didn't arrange it for you personally. Please don't be angry. Your personality is really good. Ha 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 ha. Xian Yuanji laughed heartily. Chapter 1565. Ever since the last seminar, Su Yin really put the matter of Martifran's Island aside for the time being. The matter was set in stone, but it was impossible for Su Yin to find clues in a short period of time. He could only be patient and plan for the long term. On the other hand, the transition to a technology-based movie production was imminent. Take last year for example. Except for a Huaxia box office movie that was in the top 5, the rest of the movies were all movies that focused on technological production. Transformers 4, Journey to the West, Uproar in Heaven, X-Men Reversing the Future, Captain America 2, Rise of the Planet of the Apes 2. They were all movies of this type. This showed that the demand of the domestic cinema market was undergoing a particularly subtle change. This change, to put it bluntly, was not about how people's standards of appreciation had begun to change, but a question of whether the movie ticket was worth it. Regarding the issue of copyright, this should be the thing that Huaxia people disrespected the most. In a society where piracy was rampant, the regulation in this area was too lax. When most people still listened to music on their Walkman when they were young, pirated tapes appeared. In the 1990s, high-tech CD players appeared, and then pirated discs were everywhere. After a century, these things began to be eliminated. Pirates began to pirate novels and comics on the internet. If these pirated movies did not cause much loss to the copyright owners, then pirated movies were definitely a huge failure of Huaxia's copyright law. Why couldn't the box office of non-technological movies go up? Unless there was a super box office king or a super director who made people think that it was a well-shot movie or a super easy and funny movie that could earn some money at the box office. Other than that, Even if it was an A-list celebrity, it would still not be able to catch up with the box office numbers of technological movies. How many famous directors' movies could not recover their investment at the box office? It was not because the movie was not well shot, nor was it because the director was not good enough. The reason was very simple. This kind of movie did not have any special effects. You could watch it at home by finding a pirate website and downloading it to your computer. Smart TVs had cloud systems, and by connecting it wirelessly to your computer, you could directly watch the movie on your 60-inch HD 4K TV at home. The main reason for going to the cinema to watch technological movies was that the special effects of these movies could only be felt in the cinema. Watching a 3D movie alone at home with a 3D pair of glasses? If your eyesight wasn't bad for 5 minutes, I would have suspected that there was something wrong with your eyes. Soo-yin knew very well that this was the fatal advantage of a high-tech movie. People wanted to enjoy visual effects because of the progress of mankind and society. This was a good phenomenon. It was just like when people no longer had to worry about not having enough to eat. They began to selectively choose delicacies and eat whatever they liked. It was the same for movies. What people liked to watch and what they didn't like to watch, they wanted to enjoy movies with visual effects. This was a manifestation of the pursuit of progress. Therefore, this matter was urgent. Since Sky Entertainment wanted to be the leader of Hwaseo's film and television industry, it had to play a leading role. What Soo-yin needed to do now was to play this leading role. He needed more advice. After all, Sky Entertainment had been producing traditional movies for so many years. It was a challenge for anyone to suddenly focus on high-tech movies. It was a huge challenge for him as the boss. It was a huge challenge for all the staff. It was a huge challenge for excellent screenwriters. It was a huge challenge for famous directors. It was a huge challenge for all the actors under his command. Today, Soo-yin was having a headache because of the actors under his command. Some of the actors couldn't handle this huge pressure and challenge, especially the new generation of idols who relied on their looks to make a living. To be honest, acting skills really needed to be honed. It would take a lot of time to settle down. There were very, very few artists who could make it big right after their debut. Director Zhang had only groomed 2 actresses to make it big in one go. Little Swallow, Gidge, was a miracle that could only be created in a certain era. And Brother Jia, who made his name known internationally at the Shaolin Temple in 1982, was even more of a legend. What? The Little Tigers? Wasn't that the TFBOYS from the late 1980s and early 1990s? This was a group of 3 monsters that only appeared once every 20 or 30 years. The competition in the entertainment industry was fierce. It wasn't easy to be an idol. All the idols under Sky Entertainment hoped to attract the attention of young boys and girls through idol dramas. But what was a high-tech movie? The gimmick of a high-tech movie was the technology, not the actors. Once a high-tech movie was successful, the biggest credit would be the production of the movie, not the actors. Not to mention that some of them didn't have the ability to act in such a movie. They could only act in small roles. Even if they did, how many of them would be remembered by the audience? Don't forget, the biggest selling point of a high-tech movie was the technology. It was the charm of the technology itself that made the audience remember them. How many of the actors in Avatar were remembered by the audience? But this legendary movie took 14 years to prepare, cost $500 million, and took 4 years to make. It was definitely something that could change the movie industry in the future. The visual effects brought by the graphics were what movie consumers wanted the most. It was difficult for idols to stand out in this kind of movie. This meant that the change in Sky Entertainment's investment might cast a shadow over the future of some of the actors under Sky Entertainment. And if this shadow wasn't removed in time, it might become a bigger problem. Soo-yin needed to consider these issues in the process of transforming the movie industry. After all, the reason why Sky Entertainment was able to stand tall in the Hwaseo entertainment industry was because of its strong foundation of actors. It was like how the rice bowl of the common people was the land. If the common people didn't have land, they would starve to death. If the land wasn't cultivated by the common people, it would be wasted. The relationship between the entertainment company and the artists was mutual. No one could live without the other. If Zhou Meiyan were to deal with this, she would definitely deal with it forcefully. She would severely suppress the first person to cause trouble. She would directly ban them. But if Ruan Qingshuang were to deal with it, everything would be easy to talk about. Some of the artists would take advantage of her. So Su Yin decided that he couldn't let either of them handle this. He had to deal with it himself. He had to take care of both sides. Otherwise, it would be easy for something big to happen. Sky Entertainment's vow to become the Hollywood of the East was already in the headlines. If something bad happened now, it wouldn't be good for the company. Ever since the Qingdao film and television base was built, Sky Entertainment's stock price had been rising rapidly. Now they couldn't let anything bad happen. Once it happened, the company would be affected too much. Su Yin was thinking of a perfect plan when Bai Xiaoye came with Xian Yuanji. Lin Ge was sent out to do something, so Su Yin was the only one in the office. "Brother, look who's here." Bai Xiaoye knocked on the door and walked in. Su Yin looked up and was shocked. "Xian Yuanji." Oh my god, the wine-loving sword immortal was elusive, but Bai Xiaoye actually brought him to his office. "Senior Xian Yuanji, how did you?" Su Yin couldn't understand. Xian Yuanji laughed. Although Su Yin addressed him respectfully, he still didn't care about trifles and shouted, "Brother, you don't welcome me?" "Of course not. I wanted to invite you, but I couldn't find you." Su Yin was shocked. "You and Xiaoye, you know each other?" "Yes, we just met." Xian Yuanji smiled bitterly. "I only had 9,000 yuan on me. When I went to Sky Entertainment's film and television hotel, I saw that it was more than 10,000 yuan. I was scared. If Xiaoye didn't come, I would have been sent to the police station." Su Yin smiled bitterly. As expected of Xian Yuanji. Chapter 1566. I'll teach those people a lesson later. They didn't recognize MT Tai. Su Yin looked at Xian Yuanji. Suddenly, all the troubles of Sky Entertainment's artists disappeared. A few words popped up in his mind again. Marty Franz Island. Xian Yuanji was the person Su Yin had seen the most in his life. Xian Yuanji was indeed such a person. He had been to countless places, and each of them was a place that most people would never be able to visit in their lifetime. Huaxia's Nanjibwa Mountain, Vancouver, Canada's Kaplanau Suspension Bridge, the Alps' Chile's Glacier, Romania's Waterfall, Bolivia's Uni Salt Marsh, Gelangriff Fjord, Ireland's Inishowen, Greenland's Ice Canyon, Holland's Keukenhof Garden, Venezuela's Roraima Mountain, Iceland's Selfos Waterfall, Birak Island, Croatia's Golden Horn Bay. Xian Yuanji had left his footprints in countless places. No matter if it was an extremely dangerous place or an extremely beautiful place, it had its own unique charm. Therefore, no matter if it was dangerous or beautiful, it would always attract Xian Yuanji's footsteps. The road that Xian Yuanji had walked through these years was probably more than a person could walk through in 3 lifetimes. Everyone had their own way of living. This was the life that Xian Yuanji had chosen, to be a ranger. This was 1,000,000 times more courageous than a person who was comfortable with the status quo. Perhaps some people thought that only people without shackles and fetters could do all this, but they didn't know that the fetters on Xian Yuanji's body were not something that ordinary people could imagine. Su Yin thought that he was very courageous, but it was absolutely impossible for him to embark on a journey to explore every corner of the world, like Xian Yuanji. Su Yin looked at Xian Yuanji, completely forgetting all his troubles. It was as if he had seen a ray of light in the darkness. Yes, with him, Su Yin wouldn't have to worry about not being able to find Marty Franz Island. Xian Yuanji must know this place for sure. I'll leave a room for you in the movie hotel. You can go whenever you want. Stay here when you reach Qingdao. If it wasn't for Bai Xiaoye, Su Yin would have already asked Xian Yuanji about geography. Xian Yuanji smiled faintly. "Brat, do you have something you need my help with? Why are you so enthusiastic? If you reserve a room for me, how much will you lose in a year?" If old Tai Sui were to find out, he would definitely be angry that I took advantage of his family. "There's no such thing. Even if the old man is here, he will definitely leave a suite for you," Su Yin said. "It's good, but I won't stay in one place for long." Xian Yuanji smiled slightly. "I just passed by to see you. I won't stay here. You don't need to leave a room for me." Bai Xiaoya knew that Xian Yuanji was about to get down to business. In order not to disturb them, she stood up and said, "Senior Xian Yuanji, elder brother, I still have some matters to attend to at the hotel. I won't disturb you guys from catching up. I'll arrange a welcome banquet at noon. You can come directly at that time." "Okay, go do your work. Work is more important." Suyin had been hoping that Bai Xiaoya would leave as soon as possible. Bai Xiaoya, who understood Suyun's thoughts, stuck out her tongue and left proudly. Now she was no longer alone. She had more helpers in her team. Bai Xiaoya knew very well that with each additional person reminding Suyun, it would make Suyun realize how scary things were. Only by constantly reminding Suyun could Suyun truly realize what he should and shouldn't do. "Senior Xian Yuanji, you came at the right time. I have something to ask you." Seeing that Bai Xiaoya had left, Suyun immediately lost his calm. He quickly pulled Xian Yuanji to sit on the sofa in the office. Xian Yuanji smiled slightly. "What do you want to ask me? I'm almost out of touch with society." "Please don't say that. If you're out of touch with society, what should we do?" "Suyun, it's said that it's better to travel 10,000 miles than to read 10,000 books. You've been to so many places. I won't be able to catch up with you in my lifetime." Xian Yuanji realized that Suyun wanted to ask him for something, so he said, "I can't. I'm not young anymore. My brain isn't that good. I often forget things. I've almost forgotten all the places I've been to. It's meaningless." When Suyun heard this, he was slightly stunned. How could he forget? If he had been to places like Nanjibua Peak or Selphus Waterfall, he definitely wouldn't have forgotten. How can that be? The places you've been to are places that many people wouldn't even have the chance to visit in their lifetime. "Suyun, how can I forget?" Xian Yuanji said lightly. "What do you want to ask me for? Why are you stuttering now?" Oh, it's like this. I've recently fallen in love with traveling. Then I looked up information on the internet. I wanted to go to a place where no tourists had been before." Suyun made up a story. "Then I found a place called Marty Franz Island. I fell in love with the name of the place at first sight, so I really want to go there. I wonder if Senior Xian Yuanji knows where this island is?" Xian Yuanji smiled helplessly in his heart. This kid really knows how to make things up. "Aha, the place you're talking about is really a place where no one has been before. I've heard of this place, but I don't know where it is." Xian Yuanji's answer was quite calm. Suyun obviously didn't believe it. If Xian Yuanji knew about Marty Franz Island, he definitely knew where it was. If he could still answer so calmly, it meant that he wasn't telling the truth. "Senior Xian Yuanji, if even you haven't been there, then no one can go there?" Suyun continued to probe. "Could it be that the place is fake? There's actually no such place?" "Yes, there is. It's just that the people who went there didn't come back." Xian Yuanji smiled faintly. Who knows if that place is truly a place that surpasses the immortal realm? Or perhaps it could be a place that resembles hell. Suyun felt guilty, so he didn't dare to continue the topic. "Brother, if it were someone else who asked me where Marty Franz Island is, I could still believe that they might have found it on the internet," Xian Yuanji said. "But when these words come out of your mouth, I'm really a little confused." Is that the case? What kind of place is Marty Franz Island? How could you not know?" Suyun was stunned. How could he forget this? He wasn't an ordinary person. Of course, he knew that Marty Franz Island was the island where the world's most dangerous criminal's prison was located. Xian Yuanji knew that Suyun didn't know how to explain, and didn't intend to let him explain. He said directly, "Do you know why I came to Qingdao to find you? Because I met Lin Yonghe. Don't continue to pretend that you don't know anything. He's already told me everything. Brother, don't continue to act with me." Suyun knew that he couldn't continue after being seen through, but his surprise was completely higher than embarrassment. "You know Lin Yonghe too?" "Of course." Xian Yuanji nodded. Suyun was silent for a while. "So you also know that person is locked up there?" Xian Yuanji didn't answer. He knew that Suyun was talking about Su Chen, but he didn't know how to answer. "Suyun, there are always things that you have to give up in life. And these things are things that you have to give up." If you insist on not giving up, it will bring you more people or things that you have to give up. Do you understand this principle? Soo-yin didn't answer. He just nodded silently. He knew what this meant, but he still couldn't help but want to complete this matter, even if it sounded so ridiculous. I don't need to say more about why I'm here. You already know, Xian Yuanji said. Xian Yuanji said, I believe that you are a thoughtful person. You need to make your own judgment for your own matters. If you're right, I'll support you. If you're wrong, I'll remind you. Chapter 1567. Soo-yun smiled. Forget it, let's not talk about it. I don't have time to do it now. Since you're here, I have to treat you well. I'll take you to visit the film base now. No need. When I came in, I saw that you were quite melancholy. There must be something in the company that needs to be resolved. You're no longer the ignorant kid from back then. It's time for you to hold up a new sky for the old man's business. I won't disturb your work, Xian Yuanji said. But, I came to find you to ask about something. Soo-yin nodded. I'll tell you everything I know. If there's anything you want to know, just say it. If there's anything you need me to help with, just say it. As long as it's on Guqin Island, maybe there's nothing I can't do. Xian Yuanji smiled faintly. No, this matter isn't on Guqin Island. I want to ask you about the situation in Yanjing. Yanjing? Soo-yin was startled. He didn't know how to answer this question. Could it be that Xian Yuanji wanted to ask about the Dragon Brigade? That's right. I just want to ask you about the Dragon Brigade. But don't worry, I'm definitely not asking about anything confidential. Xian Yuanji said. Other than Yu Yanlong, Soo-yin, I also know that there are quite a lot of outstanding people in the younger generation. Shadow Dragon, Black Dragon, Kirin Dragon, Mad Dragon, Flying Dragon. These people are also very famous in the underground world. So don't worry, I'm only asking about some secrets that can't be considered confidential. Soo-yin was startled. Indeed, some things about the Dragon Brigade were not without rumors in the underground world. After all, there was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. As long as they frequently participated in some of the underground world's operations, some people would more or less find out about their identities. However, this was not a big problem. There were no absolute secrets in the world. However, as long as the core things were not exposed, everything would not be a problem. Just like the question Xian Yuanji wanted to ask now. It did not involve any threat, so it did not matter. What do you want to know? Soo-yin knew better than anyone else what he should say, and what he shouldn't say. Even if it was Xian Yuanji, if he asked something that he couldn't say, Soo-yin wouldn't speak carelessly. I want to know, in the 3 to 5 years after you joined the Dragon Brigade, how many people joined the Dragon Brigade just like you? Xian Yuanji tried his best to ask this question carefully. Soo-yin took a deep breath. You're referring to me? Yes. The kind of kid who is all alone. Xian Yuanji did not let Soo-yin say the word orphan because he was not an orphan. This was not only because Su-chin was not dead, but also because he was definitely a junior in the eyes of these people. Soo-yin thought for a moment. This question was not a big deal, so he answered honestly, there are quite a few. Qianfeng, Gongsunlong, Huaxiaolu, Xingzhe, Guanliang, they are all orphans. Xian Yuanji frowned. Then are there any others? Are there any with the surname Lin? Lin, there is no such person. Soo-yin. Oh right, there is also Ma Fubang. He was also sent to the Dragon Brigade 3 to 5 years after me. Senior Xian Yuan. Why are you asking this? Then could it be that Wang Yi changed the names of the other children? Xian Yuanji was still very conflicted about this question. Or maybe he just changed the surname. Soo-yin shook his head. I don't think so. It's not like he has nothing better to do. The mystical Dragon Brigade has to go through him for a lot of things. I'm afraid he doesn't have the time to give us a nice name. Xian Yuanji took a deep breath. Then forget it, it's fine. Brother, I know you are a man of your own ideas. But regarding the island, I want to say one last thing. Do not make a rash decision. Also, I can help you at any time. As long as you need me. Soo-yin looked at Xian Yuanji gratefully. Thank you for saying that. If I need your help, I will definitely remember to ask you for it. Okay, it's good to hear that. I trust you. Don't go back on your words. Xian Yuanji knew that there was no point in saying more. If Su Yin really made up his mind, all he had to do was tell him, and he would think of a solution based on the situation. There was no point in doing anything now. I'll go first. I don't like Guqin Island. The sea is not as clear as before. There are too many floating platforms. Xiaoyi has already prepared one for you. Next time. Xian Yuanji didn't wait for Su Yin to finish, and interrupted Su Yin. He wanted to go to Yanjing because he already knew that there was no young man with the surname Lin in the Dragon Brigade. Therefore Lin Yonghe wouldn't go. Also, Lin Yonghe would definitely do something to lure out Wang Yi. If these actions caused a large loss, then there was no need to go. Originally, Xian Yuanji didn't want to get involved in this matter. However, he didn't know why he wanted to do it. Su Yin didn't force him to stay. He knew what kind of person Xian Yuanji was. Those words were meaningless to him. At this moment in Yanjing, Lin Yonghe had already made his move. Fortunately, he wasn't stupid enough to hurt anyone. He only robbed the famous Li Dafu jewelry store in Yanjing. The police definitely couldn't handle this matter, so they could only ask their superiors to arrange for more powerful people to take action. After a preliminary investigation, the superiors quickly determined that this wasn't a normal person's method. After the Dragon Brigade accepted the order, they sent out Han Zhan and Qianfeng to lead a team of 3 to investigate this matter. Very quickly, they locked onto the target, Lin Yonghe, in a small hotel in the suburbs. At night, Yanjing's sky was suffused with a faint haze. In the darkness, Han Zhan quickly made a few hand gestures to Qianfeng. Qianfeng nodded to show that he understood. Then he made 2 other hand gestures to the 2 brothers behind him. After receiving a nod in response, he also nodded to Han Zhan. After Han Zhan made the hand gesture to attack, Qianfeng quickly led people straight to the front door of the hotel. Han Zhan also led the 2 brothers directly to the back wall of the hotel. In an instant, the hotel's door and windows were all blasted. The 2 teams instantly surrounded Lin Yonghe in the room. However, Lin Yonghe in the room gave them a huge shock, because the jewelry he stole were all placed on the table in perfect condition. Furthermore, he looked as if he knew they would come and didn't panic in the slightest. They saw Lin Yonghe suddenly crush a pair of stone fitness balls in his hands into powder. His mighty Vajrapam martial arts really made Han Zhan and Qianfeng a little shocked. This meant that this person's strength was definitely above the Earth Profound Realm. How could an Earth Profound Realm expert do something like robbing a jewelry store? Naturally, it was inconceivable. You guys also saw that my goal wasn't to take these things. I also didn't hurt anyone. Lin Yonghe slowly opened his mouth and said, "You guys can take these things back in perfect condition. We also don't need to make a big fuss over this matter. This way, I think you guys will also have people injured." Lin Yonghe naturally didn't want to make a move, because he was afraid that his son would be among these people. If by any chance he hurt his own son, who he already let down, then wouldn't he feel even more guilty? He couldn't make a move, but if he didn't make a move, then he would just be sitting there waiting for death. Therefore, he could only make things clear. Then what do you mean? Han Zhan knew that this matter definitely had a hidden story. From the looks of it, this expert in front of them was deliberately luring them out. "I want to see Wang Yi," Lin Yonghe said. "I hope you guys can help me contact him. I don't have any bad intentions. You guys tell him that I'm Lin Yonghe. I want to see him. We can't be considered friends, but we are old acquaintances. I really only hope that you guys can help me with this. I'm not a robber, but if I don't do this, your people won't come out, and I won't have any way to contact Wang Yi." Qianfeng was really speechless. "I say you aren't you trying too hard? Do you know that this is a crime?" Chapter 1568. Who are you in the end? Han Zhan said, "Why do you know our chief Wang Yi? What is your identity, and what is your purpose?" "Little brother, don't be nervous. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to find an old friend to talk about the old days, and ask a few questions that I don't know," Lin Yonghe said. "Please believe me, this is very important to me. Really, I have no other choice but to do this. I will return these jewels intact. If I still have to bear any compensation, it's not a problem. But I just want to see Wang Yi. Is that okay? Qianfeng looked Lin Yonghe up and down. Then what do you mean? What is your purpose? We don't know. Before we have a way to determine whether you are an enemy or a friend, we definitely can't put our chief's situation in front of you. Lin Yonghe looked at the few of them. Looking at them, he felt like they were his own flesh and blood. This kind of feeling was really going to torture him to death. I know that if the 6 of you work together, your strength is very strong. But if I want to escape, it's not a difficult matter. You should be able to feel it, right? Yes, you can escape. But you can escape once, but you can't escape a second time. Han Zhan said coldly. An Earth-profound realm expert, if he didn't directly confront them, and wholeheartedly wanted to escape, they really didn't have the confidence to subdue him. I won't escape. Lin Yonghe put his hands together and stretched them out. You can tie me up right now. I only ask you, take me to see Wang Yi. How to deal with me, you can let him deal with me. Is this okay? Damn. This was really sincere. An Earth-profound realm expert just stretched out his hands and let them tie him up with a rope. This result was something that Han Zhan never thought of. It seemed like this person really wanted to see Wang Yi. After Qianfeng completely tied up Lin Yonghe's hands, Han Zhan quickly contacted Wang Yi and told everything to Wang Yi. Finally, he added, Master, he said his name is Lin Yonghe. You know him? Lin Yonghe? When Wang Yi heard this name, he was extremely surprised. How could it be this person? It was simply inconceivable. Moreover, Lin Yonghe did all this just to see him? Wait a minute, that's not right, things are definitely not that simple. Wang Yi believed that Lin Yonghe wouldn't make such a decision for no reason. He realized that Lin Yonghe must have done this because of something that happened more than 20 years ago. After careful consideration, Wang Yi finally made a decision. I want to meet this person in person. By the way, Master, there's one more thing. The jewels that he robbed are all intact. Even the packaging is intact. Han Zhan asked, how should we deal with this? You can exchange everything back in one piece, but you can leave this person to me. He is indeed an old friend of mine, and I really need to meet him. Wang Yi said indifferently, bring him to me first. Got it. Han Zhan hung up the phone and realized that this Lin Yonghe really had some background. Otherwise, Wang Yi wouldn't pay so much attention to him. But he was still very cautious. Lin Yonghe, all of your actions are under our control, so you'd better not have any other thoughts. As long as I realize that you have any bad motives, I will make you regret it at the first moment. When Lin Yonghe heard the promise, how could he still care about the threat of a young man to him? He still nodded with joy. He nodded while looking at the young people very seriously. He thought, if my son is one of these people, I will have no regrets in this life. As long as my son can become a great talent, I, as a father, don't care about anything. You are all around 20 years old, right? Lin Yonghe looked at the young faces, and only he knew the melancholy in his heart. What are you asking about? Qianfeng glanced at Lin Yonghe and signaled to his brothers not to talk to him so that they wouldn't fall into his trap. Lin Yonghe smiled awkwardly and looked at Qianfeng. He suddenly felt that Qianfeng's temper was quite similar to his when he was young. He couldn't help but ask, that little brother, is your surname Lin? Qianfeng rolled his eyes at Lin Yonghe. Didn't I tell you not to ask about it? Since you know who our leader is, then you should know what we do. This is all confidential. Do you understand? Can you casually ask about national secrets? Do you feel that I'm giving you face? You talk so much. Yes. Lin Yonghe nodded. He was going to see Wang Yi now so he wouldn't offend them. And the more Qianfeng talked about him like this, the more he felt that Qianfeng was like him. Did you train here for a long time? You are really too powerful. You have such high strength at such a young age. When I was your age, I was still far from it. That's right. Qianfeng said proudly. I came to the brigade before I could remember anything. I trained every day to protect the country and make it impossible for criminals like you to escape. He was sent to the Dragon Brigade before he could remember anything? Lin Yonghe almost wanted to reunite with Qianfeng because he didn't know that there were too many people in the Mystical Dragon Brigade who were sent to the Mystical Dragon Brigade when they were young because they didn't remember anything and didn't have parents to take care of them. Moreover, their parents weren't ordinary people. The reason why the Special Forces members of the Dragon Brigade were so outstanding was probably because of their genes. Every one of their birth fathers or birth mothers weren't ordinary people. Taking Su Yin as an example, it could explain everything. If he entered the underground world as Su Chen's son, no one would dare to imagine what kind of commotion it would cause. I say, why are you looking at me and smiling? Qianfeng saw Lin Yonghe looking at him with a satisfied smile and was stunned. He thought to himself, is this guy crazy? He didn't know that Lin Yonghe really thought he was his own flesh and blood. Seeing his son become so successful, of course he was satisfied. Han Zhan arranged for the other 4 people to carry the stolen jewels to the car and return them to their rightful owners. Then he called Qianfeng and Lin Yonghe to get into the car. He wanted to personally watch over Lin Yonghe with Qianfeng to see Wang Yi. Along the way, Lin Yonghe didn't have any abnormal reactions. The only thing that made Qianfeng uncomfortable was that this person's eyes were full of admiration and gratification. It made him feel good. F***ck, this old thing can't be gay, right? Thinking of this, Qianfeng couldn't help but feel a chill. If such an old gay fancied him, just thinking about it made him feel unbearably disgusted. With great difficulty, they arrived at the place arranged by Wang Yi. Qianfeng hurriedly got out of the car. Seeing Wang Yi waiting at the door, he hurriedly went forward to report that Lin Yonghe might be gay. But Wang Yi didn't give him a chance to speak. He directly said to him in Han Zhan, "You two go back and rest. I'm here." Is this okay? The 2 people were somewhat uneasy. Wang Yi saw that Lin Yonghe's wrists were still tied up and smiled. What? He's a person whose hands are controlled by fear. He still wants to stir up trouble in front of me. Thinking of this, Han Zhan and Qianfeng left with a clear conscience. After all, Wang Yi wasn't someone to be trifled with. Even if Lin Yonghe was an earth-profound realm expert, his hands were tied up. It was hard to say what he could do to master. Waiting until the 2 people walked far away, Lin Yonghe suddenly knelt in front of Wang Yi with a bang. "I have something to ask of you. Please, you must promise me. Get up and come with me to the room to talk." Wang Yi said, "If you're like this, I won't talk to you anymore. Since I asked you to come, I know why you are here. Don't be so agitated. If there's something, we can talk about it slowly." Yes. Lin Yonghe hastily got up and said. Hearing Wang Yi's words, his heart was a lot more at ease. There was definitely a feeling of being grounded. Chapter 1569. After arriving at Wang Yi's office, Lin Yonghe suddenly felt very restrained, because his identity was really embarrassing. Especially his request here. It made him feel even more embarrassed and difficult to speak. He had been wrong for too long, so much so that he didn't know if his mistake could be fixed. Moreover, he didn't know if Wang Yi would answer his question. These factors made Lin Yonghe, who had been a scoundrel for decades, feel guilty and unable to calm down. Lin Yonghe took a deep breath and looked at Wang Yi nervously. Wang Yi's reaction was much more easygoing than he imagined. He just said lightly, "Sit," and Lin Yonghe awkwardly sat on the chair beside Wang Yi. His fingers rubbed up and down. That I am. Do you know why I am so polite to you?" Wang Yi said lightly, "I'm afraid that with your reputation, Lin Yonghe, it's not enough for me to be polite to you. Who I am giving face to, you know very well. So I don't need to say anything more, right?" Lin Yonghe smiled awkwardly. "I know. I also know that my extreme behavior is indeed overboard, but I really can't think of any way to find you quickly. I believe you also know that those few young people were able to find me so quickly because I deliberately left some clues." Wang Yi stared. "Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying that if you didn't leave any clues, my people wouldn't be able to catch you?" "Lin Yonghe, don't be too confident. I'll leave you the words today. If you think it's a bit uninteresting, you can leave now. You don't need to leave any clues. You can try and see if my people can find you." Hearing Wang Yi's words, Lin Yonghe quickly explained, No, I really didn't mean that. I just wanted to be able to get in touch with you earlier. I didn't mean anything else. I came to Huaxia to find you because of the Wine Sword Immortal. I was worried that he would change his mind, so I came up with this plan to be able to see you in the shortest time possible. Wine Sword Immortal. Lin Yonghe, how is this related to Xian Yuanji? Wang Yi was startled. One must know that Xian Yuanji was his sworn brother when he was young. At that time, he had tried his best to persuade him to join the Dragon Brigade. This was because he knew that Xian Yuanji was a genius in the world of armaments. If the Dragon Brigade could get Xian Yuanji's help, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. It was a pity that Xian Yuanji insisted that he would always be a free cloud and a wild crane. No matter what, he refused to join them. After that, he lived a wandering life, leaving his shadow in every corner of the world. On the other hand, Wang Yi was busy contributing to the country. Although he envied Xian Yuanji's life, he still believed that his choice was more meaningful. Although their pursuits were different, brothers would always be brothers. The basis of their beliefs was the same, which was why they became brothers. There had been no news of Xian Yuanji for a long time. How could Wang Yi not be surprised to hear his name today under such circumstances? Lin Yonghe took a deep breath and said, "Then I'll be direct. Just say it. I'm not used to beating around the bush." Wang Yi frowned. "I concealed my identity and carefully planned for 20 years. All for the sake of killing Su Chen's son today. To avenge the death of my wife and child, and to force me into a dead end." Lin Yonghe said, "But I failed. My men couldn't kill Su Chen's son, Su Yin, according to my plan. After Empress Zhuo Lingyue found out about this, I was forced to meet her under the pressure of Lightning Ling Feng and Thunderclap Onan." Wang Yi widened his eyes when he heard this. He didn't expect so many things to happen after Su Yin left the Dragon Brigade. No wonder this kid didn't come recently. It wasn't because of Zhuo Lingyue's supervision, but also because of these matters. Lin Yonghe continued, "I understand now. Su Chen spared my life back then because he hoped I could turn over a new leaf. More importantly, it was because of my 1-month-old child." Hearing this, Wang Yi was certain of Lin Yonghe's true motive for coming to Yanjing and using such an extreme method to find him. "Wang Yi, I beg you. Tell me which one is my son. Is it the taller one?" Lin Yonghe still suspected that Qianfeng was her son. Wang Yi closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "I beg you, I really beg you. I know that even Su Chen's son was sent here. My son will definitely be sent here too." Lin Yonghe was so nervous that she didn't know what to say. "I know. I have a special affinity with that young man just now. I really want to know, is it him?" Wang Yi gestured for Lin Yonghe to calm down. "I can tell you very clearly, don't think too much. Do you know whose son the child you're talking about is?" Lin Yonghe was stunned and a little sad. "He's Qianzhen's son, the Thousand-Hand King's son." Wang Yi said, "I understand how you feel, but don't misinterpret my words. Look at the young men under me and think they're your sons." Lin Yonghe tried to calm herself down. Yes. Wang Yi was silent. He raised his glass and took a sip. He pointed at the glass and gestured for Lin Yonghe to drink. Although Lin Yonghe raised the glass, he wasn't in the mood to drink. He just looked at the ripples in the glass and waited patiently. He realized that Wang Yi was brewing something, and was preparing to tell him something. Wang Yi suddenly let out a sound that sounded like a sigh, but wasn't. Lin Yonghe's heart was in his mouth. Lin Yonghe knew very well what kind of place this was, and what the people here needed to do. He also knew very well that any mission carried out by the Dragon Brigade had the possibility of losing their lives. Therefore, this was very frustrating. Lin Yonghe was worried that he would hear bad news. However, the truth wasn't as bad as he thought. Wang Yi finally spoke. "I think you've seen him on Guqin Island." What do you mean?" Lin Yonghe's eyes widened. Wang Yi said that he had seen his son. "Back then, he was indeed sent to me. However, his personality was very difficult to blend in with the others." Wang Yi said, "Therefore, I felt that he wasn't suitable to grow up in this kind of big family. For the sake of this child, for his future development, I made a decision." Lin Yonghe felt like he was going to suffocate when he heard Wang Yi's words. I decided to send this child to a place more suitable for him to grow up, Wang Yi said. I chose to ask my second brother for help and sent this child away. Lin Yonghe suddenly realized what was going on. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. Sure enough, he had seen his own son on Guqin Island. Wang Yi's sworn second brother was the evil god Lu Xuanji. When Lin Yonghe was investigating Su Yun, he had already found out about Lin Ji's identity when Lin Gu appeared. Lin Gu was nurtured by Lu Xuanji. He was already one of Lu Xuanji's most powerful subordinates, second only to Xie Fei's. Lin Gu. Lin Yonghe was about to cry. He had actually passed by his own son. I think you should be able to guess who I'm talking about, Wang Yi said. As for the rest, I don't need to say much, right? Lin Yonghe, in this world, many things can be found back. However, there is only one thing that no one can find back, no matter what price they pay. That is time. Lin Yonghe nodded bitterly. This might sound contradictory, but it suits you very well. Can you find back what you've lost? Did you lose your family or time? You should think about it carefully. Ask yourself, what exactly do you need? If you lose your family, there is a possibility of finding it back. Wang Yi said, if you think that you've only lost time, then I have to remind you that you might not be able to find back what you want in this lifetime. Lin Yonghe looked at Wang Yi in shock after hearing his words. It's useless to look at me. Touch your heart. You have to ask yourself this. Ask yourself if you know what you've lost. Wang Yi said heavily. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.